And welcome to This Podcast Does Not Have a Name, episode 1 of September 21st, 2021. I'm Shawn, and here's my co host.
Hi, I'm Chris, also known as Prince Kaboom. How's it going?
So, this is going to be our new podcast. Let's do some introductions, but I guess first, yeah, this podcast is going to cover, gaming, some anime news, some gaming news, just pretty much whatever we want to talk about. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Chris.
Hi. So, I don't do much for Twitch streaming, just here and there outside of if I can do work, but I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, Dragon Quest fan, and a bit of a Pokemon fan, as you can see from all the stuff I've got up here. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than Pikachu looks way too happy to know he's going to die soon with that death collar wrapped around his neck. I think Charmander understands what's happening. He's just living his best life. Pikachu, I think, is pretty dense. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I spend way too much time and money on Dragon Ball stuff. I'm a huge mark. It's my favorite anime series of all time. It's the reason why I continue to watch a lot of anime and cosplay. So it's like the reason why I'm still doing a lot of that stuff or so big into it now is because of Dragon Ball. And you?
So, really quick, Chris, before we go to me, you just told me recently, but I just found out today. Can you explain what a mark is when you say your Dragon Ball mark?
Uh, Effectively, I think the term comes from like a thief. When they look at someone and consider them a mark, it means that they're easy to steal from or easy to get what they want out of that person. And for me, it is really, really easy to get money out of me just by slapping a Dragon Ball logo and definitely my favorite character on it. I spend way too much money on Dragon Ball stuff as is, and they keep putting out more and more stuff since the revival of Dragon Ball Super, and possibly the new movie, which I believe is coming up next year, which I am excited for. Super excited.
Yeah.
And you?
Um, I just to respond to that, like it's kind of like a video game where they say, "Hey, we have a mark, go steal from him." That's kind of what a mark is, I suppose, huh?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's how I seen it anyway. I'm pretty sure that's what the term comes from, is like from thieves and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So,
So for me, I'm Sean. I go by Zorb or Zorbzex. Yeah, I have a background. I have a bachelor's in psychology. I also have a degree in human resources, HR. Yeah, that's kind of my education. Me and Chris. Well, hang on, I'm kind of jumping the gun here. So yeah, I'm a huge gamer. That's my main pastime. Gaming has been a hobby of mine ever since I was 3 years old. Even though I wasn't good, I was good enough to kind of press buttons, but that kind of intrigued me, and I kind of been hooked ever since. I'm a huge collector of games too. I enjoy collecting. I enjoy playing. I enjoy discussing. I enjoy getting to gaming news. So yeah, this is going to be it's a pretty good podcast, I think, for me. I'll be
see, oh, go on.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you said you're a game collector, so are you slabbing your games, or are you just looking to buy the games you want to play? If you know what I mean by slabbing your
I
games.
don't. I was going to ask you about that.
Take your games, put them inside, basically getting them graded from places like Wada, and I don't remember what the other big one is, but they'll take your game, rate it, and then throw it inside of a plastic case where you can never ever play the game. It just sits there forever. Apparently appreciating in value. It's a scam, I think.
I can see that point of view, but no, I will never do that, and I have never done that. I always play the games I have, right?
Good. I don't see the point of slabbing one of your games, at least for me, because I want to play all the games I buy.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
plan on, even though I have a big collection that's ever growing because of Steam and other platforms.
yep.
But I want to play them all if I can.
Yeah. Like I'm pretty bad. My backlog is pretty massive. I'm pretty proud of my game collection. It's not the biggest. It's a pretty humble game collection, but like I remember when I was a teenager, I bought Lunar Silver Star Story 1 and 2 for PlayStation 1 like complete, and it had all the little extras and all that. So, Yeah, like I've never gone around to playing those games, but
Oh, oh, you
but
bet.
I am, yes, and I have a lot of games like that, but I'm very proud of myself to have made that purchase, years ago, because now I don't have to scrounge eBay to find these games authentically.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I
I am
am
not. Go on. Sorry.
No, no, you're good. I'm very proud that I managed to kind of acquire these games over the years. That's kind of like as a teenager and as an early 20s, that's kind of where, the vast majority of my disposable income went, was, collecting rare games. I'm not claiming to be the best game collector, but I do have a really good collection. I'll put it that way. Yeah. And, ooh, there's my cat. Hello. Sorry about that if you heard that. But anyways, yeah, I've also started streaming on Twitch as of May in 2021, and I regret not having done it sooner, despite having a Twitch account for like 8 or 9 years. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And Chris, I'm gonna tell the story of how I met, because you might not remember. So I was fresh out of high school, not fresh, but like maybe like less than a year. So one of my first jobs was an overnight gig at a grocery store, like third shift. And it was during my first or second shift, I went in, and my boss was like, "Okay, well, there's a guy in like this aisle. His name's Chris. Go shadow him. He'll kind of show you what to do, how to work here." And then, I forget which one of us introduced ourselves. I think I came up to you and said, "Hey, the boss said I should shadow you. My name's Shawn." And I remember, Chris, what you were wearing that day. It was like it was either like an orange or yellow or some sort of color, like Hawaiian shirt. It was like, you're wearing it like open, like untucked, and I'm like, oh, okay. Is this dude like Hawaiian? That's the first thing I thought. I thought you were Hawaiian for some reason, because you wore
Yes,
this Hawaiian
my
shirt.
Hawaiian anime shirts.
And then the first thing, aside from like, our introductions, that Chris asked me was, "So, do you like Dragon Ball?"
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that. But me trying to spread my love of Dragon Ball to unsuspecting people definitely doesn't sound like me at all. Not at all. Uh, but I'm pretty sure shortly after that was, oh, so who's your favorite character? And I probably scoff at whoever you said if you did not answer Vegeta. I'm not sure which character you said. I would have said like maybe Trunks or Piccolo, but it probably could have been Goku as well. He is the main character and the biggest and strongest, and doesn't afraid of nothing.
Yeah, Goku, especially during that time, 100% I would have said Goku. Nowadays, I'm not so sure. I probably still say Goku, but I have to think. I'd actually have to think about it. Um, yeah. Anyways,
And he's
so
definitely changed if you've watched Super.
I
I mean, not changed, but uh,
yeah,
no,
because
he
I
hasn't really continue down the path you think he would have after what happened during the Cell games. At least the path we thought he would have gone down.
mhm.
He's kind of a character now, but they also kind of did that with Vegeta as well. I don't know. Super to me is kind of meh. Although I still buy lots of Super merch. Yeah, so
But something about yourself, I think you should have mentioned, was you like. I'm not sure how you would qualify yourself, but in my opinion, you are a really good artist. Like, you make a really shit ton of good cosplays, and I think you kind of sell yourself short, in my opinion. Again, I'm not sure how you qualify yourself, but I think you're the most talented artist I personally know.
yeah, been I'm a cosplayer. I guess I didn't really mention that. I kind of downplay that. Uh yeah, I've been cosplaying since like what year is it now? Oh, I've probably been cosplaying or making my own since I was about 18 or 20. Pretty much since I got a job and started earning money, I then started making costumes. I think the first one I did would have either been Darth Maul or Goku. I think Goku would be the first one I would consider my first cosplay. And I actually had long hair back then, so I actually spiked up my hair and styled it up like Goku's. And in the hot hot weather and being inside doors, it doesn't stand up very well. So the hair starts to droop and it started to look like crap at the end. But I think that was the first one. I mostly cosplay though now. Vegeta from Dragon Ball. He's my favorite. and I plan on doing every one of his forms. But I've also done like Little Yugi and Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach. I guess Little Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! And Griffith from Berserk, and a few others here and there, but mostly I stick to Dragon Ball stuff. I want to do a lot more Dragon Ball cosplays in general, like TPDNHAN or Yamcha. Try and do maybe Super Saiyan 4 or 3 in the future, like far future probably. But yeah, it's been a big thing. Other than that, I also do like drawings and designs here and there just for fun. I'm not putting lots of stake into that, but as long as I have fun, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, like it's not your primary profession, but if you can switch over eventually, I'm sure you'll want to because you do have some natural talent, and you're not, as far as art goes, you're not really educated at all. You're just kind of self-taught, which is very impressive in my opinion.
Yes, I'm never going to go to school just to have a diploma to say, hey, I went to this snooty art school to learn this. I'm going to learn it all on my own, like I've done most things in life.
Hmm. And I can,
I'm kind of self-taught myself with a lot of things.
and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I can attest that Chris has made some amazing cosplays, especially since he has no, as he said, he's extremely self-taught, right? So it makes it that much more impressive. But
Hmm.
anyways,
I think my favorite one, just to end on that, is my favorite one I've done so far. That is 100% complete. It was a Chrono cosplay I've done
yes,
in the last 2 years. No, 3 years. I guess it would have been pre-pandemic. And I think that's my favorite one because it's 100% complete. It's probably the way I'm going to start doing the wigs now from now on. And even though there are some flaws with it here and there, it's things that I still think it's the best I've done right now, especially with a lot of new techniques I was using, working with leather and other things such.
yeah, Chris actually made me the Chrono cosplay, which I actually might be wearing on stream because my community challenge got met for a Final Fantasy X speedrun. So
And Halloween's coming up.
exactly.
You bet your ass we'll be wearing this stuff for wearing some costumes for
Hmm.
Halloween.
Hmm.
Because I know I am, even if he doesn't.
Yeah. So it's been about 13 minutes or so. Is that good for introductions? This is only going to be like a episode one sort of thing where we
Yeah,
kind of
I think.
introduce ourselves. I think people have a good idea of what our background is for the
Yeah,
most part.
and anything we miss, I'm sure will come up in future
Hmm.
stuff.
And
So I know
something,
something I've missed, but I'll talk about later or in a different podcast. So
okay, something I'm going to quickly add for myself is I generally try to keep up and I do a really good job with gaming news. So I'm pretty knowledgeable even about things I don't specifically own, like a Stadia. I still keep up to date with all the gaming news pretty much. That's all I wanted to say. But yeah, we can move on now. All right, so some things for our podcast is we think we're going to be covering some gaming news amongst other things, but how's that sound to you, Chris, as a kind of a first
yeah,
section of the
gaming
podcast?
gaming news and whatever other little news, but we could start with some gaming news, unless if you want to talk about what you've been up to.
Um, yeah, I mean, we can do that first. That's a good idea. So, last week or so, what I've been up to, not very much. Aside from just the whole Twitch thing. Again, I'm kind of a new streamer as of May. This is when I started the whole Twitch thing, and yeah, been playing through Final Fantasy 4 Pixel Remastered that came out not too long ago.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I'm one achievement from getting the 100% in the game, which is just a bunch of grinding for rare drops from enemies. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but I'm trying to get it done. As I said at the start, this is it's Tuesday, September 21st, and in a couple days from now, Diablo 2 Remastered is coming out. So even though all the controversy of Blizzard is kind of really put me off of buying it, I still wanted to play the game, so I purchased it, and that's coming out in a couple days. So I'm trying to kind of clear my schedule for that one game.
Yeah, I played a lot of Diablo 2, like the original, way back in the day. I think it was because of our mutual friend Russell from way back in the day, and probably you. Don't remember. Maybe you guys were both playing at the same time. I didn't have a PC or much of a PC then, so it would have been around the time I met you and Russ that I would have gotten a better PC and be able to play. But I can't, with the current controversy and it being mostly Activision, but they've kind of brought it all downhill. that I can't support that company anymore. I'm boycotting them along with some of the other bigger AAA companies like EA and Ubisoft.
Hmm. Um,
So, but I've never really liked EA too much, and Ubisoft. Nothing personal about the company originally. I just didn't like the games they're making or the quality. So I kind of like boycotted those two way back in the day, and now it's kind of expanded into Blizzard and Activision, and I think it's mostly just those three. I was gonna say Konami, but they don't really make games anymore. They maybe a few here and there now, which is few and far between. But you could go on.
yeah, I completely agree with you, and this is something I posted on my Twitter a couple days ago. Actually,
Mm,
was I I didn't feel right buying the game, but I'd already promised like 3 or 4 separate friend groups before this whole controversy with Blizzard started that I had planned on making, plans playing the game with them. And again, this is a game I put like thousands of hours into as a teenager, so it kind of, when you look at it from that perspective, I guess it's kind of like a game that kind of defined my teenage years. So as much as I didn't want to support them, and I'm a very firm believer of voting with your wallet when it comes to this sort of thing, I decided to say, you know what, fine, I'll make the purchase. It's something I want to do. I've already committed to making, some plans with friends with this game. I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but going forward, this will be my last Blizzard purchase. And yeah, and I think that's actually, unless if you have something else to add to that, Chris, I think that's actually a good segue into the first little minor piece of gaming news.
Yeah, we could do that, and I could talk about what I've been doing a
Oh,
little bit after
sorry.
that. Go
No, no,
into
no, no, no,
something a
no,
little
no,
bit.
no. You go. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I'm sorry. You
all
go.
right. All right, that's fine. But mine is pretty quick here. Other than work, working and sleeping, that's pretty much all I have time for a lot of times during my work days. But I did actually take 3 to 4 hours out of my one of my days off, or one of my nights off here, to go play a little indie game that came out a few years ago called Little Misfortune.
Hmm.
It's a little side-scrolling narrative adventure game, I'll say, because it's not really adventure, but more on the narrative side. Game about a little girl named Little Misfortune who's going on an adventure with a voice in her head, um, trying to find the eternal happiness so she could give to her mother. It's kind of a bit of a grimdark tale, but I think it's really, really worth your 3 to 4 hours to play through it. There seems to be only two endings in the game, one for doing all the sparkly events, and one just for beating the game normally. But there are multiple choices. Like every choice you get is one of two choice dialogues, and it seems that there are a couple different variants of each choice that you make depending on previous choices you've made. So like I interacted with this dog, and I think I freed the dog and got one event, but I think a different event happens don't if you don't free the dog. And again, with the fish, I'd save the fish, but if I kept the fish, I think one of two different events could happen in the future depending on what I choose. So there is reasons to replay to see those little events, and I think it's really worth it. And I really like the woman. I believe it's one of the creators of the game who voices Limbless Fortune. I think her accent and the way she voices her is really cute, and I strongly recommend you should go play it if you own it. So, and
Yeah.
anyone else listening.
I do actually own it. I bought it on sale like about 2 or 3 months ago. So I've never touched it though.
Yeah, I recommend whenever you have a chance, do it up on stream and play through it. I think it's definitely worth checking out. You should give it a look, at least one look. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I'll keep it in mind. I'll keep it in mind. I'm not saying, again, I already bought the game, so I might as well play through it, right? Yeah,
Might as well at some point.
at some point I probably will. But oh, something I forgot to mention was on Twitch. I just mentioned I started streaming, but I think did I mention this already? I my community challenge got met, so I'll actually be doing a speed run for Final Fantasy X, and like it's gonna take me like 10 hours to do a speed run of that game, and I'll probably be wearing the Chrono cosplay you made for me, Chris. So
For
that's,
FF10?
Yes, because
Okay.
I don't have a cosplay for Tidus, so or anything specific to that game. So I'm figuring, I said it's a community challenge. Let's see if I can survive in that big ass wig for Chrono you made for me for 10 hours. We'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, I guess it's a good test, if not
mhm,
to know if you need to make adjustments for the wig
yeah.
and such, which, there may be, but we'll see. It's kind of testing it out. Doesn't give you the right image of whether or not you need to make the adjustments, but we'll see that in the future. And that's something we'll deal with later.
So yeah,
But you were mentioning something that was a spin-off from what we were talking about with Activision Blizzard.
yeah,
I
so
get it to news.
this is our first episode, so we're not going to go through the whole history of the Blizzard controversy.
No, I
Basically,
don't. Definitely don't want to do that.
no, basically TLDR is the state of California suing Blizzard's Activision for basically, mistreating their employees by everything under the book, essentially, like sexual misconduct, whatever. It's like all the whole 9 yards. But we won't go through that. But a couple things, well, at least one thing that came out in the last couple days was they're
Mhm.
actually
I've only read the headline of this, so I don't know 100% what's going on. So if you could bring that up for me.
Yeah, so they're subpoenaing, I think that's the correct word. Like both me and Chris are Canadians, so like, they that exists in Canada, but I'm not sure if I'm
We have not had that happen to us. We don't
no.
know.
Of course not. But yeah, apparently it's the CEO Bobby Kotick, who is, running Activision Blizzard, he got subpoenaed. So did a bunch of other like high-level executives. So basically, this is going to force them to come to court and have to defend themselves, because there have been reports of, Blizzard shredding documents, which once you're under
Oh yeah,
investigation, you're not supposed to get rid of any evidence. So that's actually a criminal, to my understanding. That's actually like a criminal thing in the US.
I do believe so. You're not supposed to be shredding the documents, but they claimed those documents had nothing to do with the case, but they're not the ones who make that decision.
No.
It's the people who have been investigating them for the last 3 to 4 years to make that decision.
Hmm.
And I was going to bring up that, but you had already brought it up. And there's also the other issues. Well, other than the thing. Apparently, I guess the subpoena would be the feds, or is the feds another group now investigating them as well?
I That's a really good question actually. I'm not sure because I think it started with the state of California suing them. So I'm not
Yeah, they
sure. I'm
something
not
about the I don't remember exactly what it's called, but a certain government faction was looking at them, like the employee welfare or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but now they're being subpoenaed. I think either the feds are doing that, or the feds are now looking into them. So it's just getting worse and worse as more and more garbage is being shown up because of this shitty company, or at least the people who have been doing this to these employees for years and years and years and years.
hmm.
And every time any story of this ever pops up, people go, "Oh, it's fine. Oh, look, they just changed. They've now announced this character is now bisexual or gay. We can now forgive them." It's like, no, we that doesn't. Don't slap this band-aid on this and keep covering it up, Blizzard. Like, we need this to come out in the open, and you need to be you need Ah, sorry. You go on. I'm stumbling on my words of explicitly what I want to say
No, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah,
because I am upset about them. It's the reason, one of the big reasons why I'm boycotting them is
let me
because of
ask you
everything.
a question. And this is gonna relate to what we're saying, I promise. Have you heard of the ship of Theseus thought experiment, Chris?
I've heard it mentioned. I do not exactly know what it means.
Okay,
So if you could please explain it to me.
so this is a rhetorical question. Like I don't want to. I'm gonna ask something of you, but I don't expect an answer. It's
Is
just
that what you mean by this experiment, or is this?
no.
I
That
guess not. Okay, so the rhetorical question isn't what
rhetorical
that is.
question, as in I don't expect you to answer. Like I don't want an answer, matter of fact. So, there is a ship owned by Theseus, and there's one plank of wood in the ship that got rotten when they were forced to replace it. Fine. So they replaced it. And now there's a new, piece of wood in there where the old one used to be.
Mhm.
let's say we take that and apply it to the whole ship over time. So like every piece of plank of wood that makes every square inch of that ship, the ship, is replaced one piece at a time until eventually the entire ship is all replaced. Are we still on the original ship or is it a new ship now?
Mhm. I see what you're trying to say. I could answer that in terms of how I see it, and in terms of a company. If you were to replace all the CEOs that are running the company with new CEOs that do not share those ideals, should we still burn the ship down?
That's
Yes.
that's
I
not
know it's not quite, that's not what you're saying, but
no.
I like the fact that they're still calling the ship Activision Blizzard. I'm still going to look at it as being the scummy sleazehole of a company, just like how I look at Rockstar and EA. And the only way they could get away from that is if those devs that don't want to be associated with that leave and build their own ship. That ship will always be seen with the stigma of those shitty assholes who are running it. Whether it be the captain of the ship who's pretending none of this happened and is sitting on millions and millions of dollars that he can obviously afford to put in place measures to prevent this from happening, or the people who are causing these things to happen. I think that, like, I personally think you should just burn the ship down and start all over again without the rot there to begin with. And that can be prevented no matter how much EA claims it can't be. Because I don't know if you knew, EA came up with a statement a few weeks ago claiming that because it sounded like that there was going to be crap showing up about them, about abuse. And they put out a preemptive statement saying this is just something that exists in the industry and we can't do anything to prevent it from happening. Bullshit. There are definitely things you could do to prevent the stuff from happening.
um oh, just to kind of complete my thought, like the ship
Yeah, sorry, I
no
kind
no
of
it's
went on a
it's
tangent.
no, no, it's fine. So yeah, we'll jump onto EA in a second, but like for the whole Blizzard, you kind of figure it out. The reason why I'm asking you that is because in my opinion that's what Blizzard is. It's a sheep of Theseus right now, because all the original people who made Blizzard what Blizzard was back in the day have all sailed their own ships. And
Mhm.
everyone, I'm not saying every single person down to the last man or woman, but essentially to that point, like pretty much.
Yeah.
The Blizzard of today is not the Blizzard it was, back in like when Diablo 1 launched, of course, right? That makes sense. It's been so many
Mm.
years. But it's not just the people, it's the mentality and the practices. Now to kind of jump to what you're saying about EA, I didn't actually hear that. That's news to me, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I
But
could be misremembering exactly what he said, but it's pretty much something like that. It seemed like it was a preemptive, oh, some crap's going to come up about us too. Like, that's what it kind of felt like. And I only heard briefly of it on a different podcast, so I didn't actually look at the news article. So sorry if I don't remember exactly what was said, but
so
it's pretty much, it was something like that. It's what I had said there.
that's something that a lot of sites reported on when the Blizzard news first broke out. They're like, "Hey, Blizzard's not the only one
Hmm.
that this is happening to. It's basically happening pretty much across the board to all like the AAA companies. Like this is like kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like a industry wide occurrence. So Blizzard's
Hmm.
not unique, but one foot before the other. Let's make sure Blizzard you know is taken care of, and then all the other companies like EA will take note and hopefully change over. They won't,
EA won't.
but at least there's going to be a precedent then, right? So EA can't say, oh, we know. Well, are you going to claim ignorance over what's happening to Blizzard? Well, you can't now. You kind of put out that statement, right? As you said.
Mm. Yeah, it's. I know what you're saying. It's sad that it has to come to this, where the governments have to step in and say what the hell is going on. Like this is something that lots of people have been shouting at the industry about for years and years and years, and they've refused to do anything about it. Like James Stephanie Sterling has been shouting about stuff like this for years, and people just look at them and go, "No, you don't know what you're talking about. They're not that terrible of a company."
Mm-hmm.
And it has to keep rotting and get to this state. It's so awful.
that.
I was giving it a second here.
No, you're absolutely right. It went offline and then an auto reconnected. So yeah, but
Okay,
we're
so
back though.
there must have been a hiccup in your
Hmm.
connection. Sorry
Yeah,
about that, everyone.
yeah. Sorry about that. I have web browsers open, but they're all news links. They're not like
Yeah,
videos or
there
anything. So
just must have been a hiccup in your line or something.
yes,
But we seem to be
sorry,
back up.
sorry. Anyways, I'm not
I think
sure.
it just went down on your closing statement
Okay,
is when it started to affect them.
that's what I think too. I was watching and I've been looking
Uh,
at the live button every minutes just to make sure that that's not.
it was Big Daddy EA coming to stop you from slagging them off.
Yeah, exactly. The power of EA compels you.
They've come to put a stop to you.
So basically,
I,
I kind of forget what I was saying for my closing statement, but basically, I think I'm not sure when it cut out, but to summarize, I think it's just you have to take one foot ahead of the other, and I don't think they should be spreading the resources so thin because even if other companies take note like EA, which they obviously have, uh, you know, they're not going to change overnight at EA just
mm,
because Blizzard's getting sued. But even if this means one less sexual harassment case somewhere in the world of EA or anywhere else, then it'll have been worth it, right? Um, but their time will come as long as they keep going down the list. Focus on Blizzard because remember, this is a 2-year investigation on Blizzard, so it is definitely an industry-wide practice, and one that will be changing over time because there's no way this is going to be 1,000 years from now. Blizzard's still going to be sexually harassing their employees. It's not going to happen. Eventually, it's going to be stopped and eradicated. It's just going to take some time.
yeah.
So yeah,
But I think that's good on that topic. And see if I had something else to end, but that seemed like your closing bit here.
yep.
Um, what do we want to talk about now? I don't remember what else. I think it was like one of the newest. Well, I guess not really. Um, we want to talk about a couple trailers here,
Oh, you want to
if you don't mind.
switch? Yeah, that's fine.
Because just make it maybe a little bit lighter news after the heaviness of that. It can't be helped. But over the last 2 to 3 weeks, there've been a couple trailers have dropped that we've been looking at and have been interested in. For me, new Matrix movie. Hooray! Um, it is really weird seeing this and knowing how the last movie ended.
Hmm.
I'm wondering where this movie's going to take it because there's no surprise right now based on that it takes place in a simulation, the Matrix, right? So everyone knows that. That's not the gimmick now. So I wonder what the gimmick is. Based on how it looks, I wonder, like, there's a couple theories that I had, and probably some people had these theories, but these are mine. Like, either the how do I say? Either Neo at the end of the original Matrix, I was thinking maybe he went to the computers and put himself back to sleep because of what happens at the end of that movie. Of the Revelations? Yes. The third one. I was thinking that maybe he told the computers to put him to sleep so that he could be reawoken again when another virus or another unexpected thing happens, so that he comes back to save people again. Because he seems to be like kind of a pseudo antivirus. Or like he's the one. He's the avatar. He's going to be there to protect people. And I wonder if that's a result of what happened in the last movie, or if the entire thing, even the real world we knew, was actually another simulation, because Neo used powers outside of the Matrix to stop the tentacle mechanical beasts. I don't
Right.
remember what they're called, sorry. But he stopped them. And I'm like,
Sentinels.
Sentinels, thank you. And I'm wondering, are we going to be in a Matrix within a Matrix? Because it's been, what, 20 years since the Matrix? And that seems to be the time skip that's happening in Resurrection. So did he put himself to sleep, get reawoken, and he's just being reawoken again? Or has he just been living out his life again, but it seems like he's forgotten what's happened? They're doing the whole follow the white rabbit and here's red pill or blue pill Neo thing again. So I wonder what I am interested in, not because it's really Matrix, but because it's got sexy ass Keanu in it. And I'll definitely see a movie with him. I have yet to see the last few he's done. What's it called? The one where he's the hitman.
John Wick.
I have not seen any of the John
You
Wicks. I've been
should.
putting them off
You should.
because I want to watch them with my buddy Rob. But I really, really want to watch it, and we're big fans of Keanu ever since
Hmm.
his original movies, like way back in the day. So I'm really excited to kind of see what happens with the Matrix. I'm hoping that they know where they're going with this series. It seemed in the originals it kind of fell apart, but I still liked it. Not saying it was a great end, but I still enjoyed it. Any thoughts for you on this?
Yeah, so I'm actually one who linked the trailer because, well,
Hmm.
because The Matrix, the first one at least, is my second favorite movie of all time.
Ooh.
And no, you're breathtaking. But anyway, for Keanu. But anyways, I did that because Keanu, I've always enjoyed him as an actor too. And what makes it hilarious, I was gonna mention that too. It's like we don't have like baby face Keanu with short hair and like a shaved face. He's actually like John Wick Keanu
Hmm.
because his character looks like John Wick with the beard. And so I'm kind of glad they didn't make him shave to kind of resemble his look from the first the film. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of fan theories going on, and remind me to drop you some kind of analysis YouTube videos that I've been watching. I've been really obsessed the last like 2 or 3 days watching some YouTube videos about examining the trailer and some fan theories. I have some theories on my own. I don't think they're going to do a Matrix within the Matrix. It just seems a little too corny.
You don't think
That
that they should
was
do the Inception thing?
no, I don't think they're gonna go that route, and I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure I'm extremely confident because I don't remember if it was Keanu or Lana Wachowski. One of them, I think one of them said that it's not gonna go that direction, and people are also
Okay.
talking a time jump, and then Keanu did an interview pretty quick, and he's like, no, it's not gonna be a time jump. We're just going forward. There's no going backwards. Oh, sorry, like time jump like back in time. I mean,
Hmm.
not
Okay. Yeah,
there's
that's good.
there's going to be like a forward time jump, yes, but not like a back. Like it's also like the past and the future. The
Yeah.
past is the future. Sort of like they're not going to do anything like that crazy. But anyways, something worth of note before I say anything else is they did an interview with Lawrence Fishburne, who played Morpheus, and they said, "Why
Hmm.
aren't you in the movie?" And he
Oh
says,
shit, he's not.
"I was not invited." He
Oh.
so he was not invited, but they have a new actor playing the Morpheus character, or so we think in the trailer. We don't actually know. There's been some things in the trailer. You mentioned Chris about you don't know if Keanu is back in the Matrix or whatever, but there's actually a spot in the trailer where they show his body being like reconstructed. Because remember, he died, and so did Trinity at the very end of the
Hmm.
movies. He actually died, and so they showed in the trailer, if you pause, it shows his body, he's still like blinded from having his eyes scorched,
Hmm.
and they're kind of like on him and like repairing him. One of the trailers shows Trinity in a pod like this, like from the side, and like it shows a jack in her head, but there's a jack like in her spine and her neck, and that's what's
Hmm.
connecting her. This is not the connection anymore. Sorry, you can't really see. This is not
Yeah. Yeah.
this is the connection from the base of your spine right in the middle of your neck, pretty much. So that's an interesting theory. Like
Oh yeah.
why is that new?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen that in the trailers, or I missed that stuff. I should look at if there's another trailer, or I'll look at it again. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then another theory I had was this is Morpheus's son. He just took up his name because
Hmm.
it's a
Could
forward
be.
time jump. We don't know by how much. It could have been, how they said you're like the sixth one because there's been
Hmm.
other iterations of you, and then like they destroy Zion, and then the one picks like, as the architect said, like 17 women and like 8 men or whatever it was to like rebuild Zion with like from scratch essentially. So they keep it's like a cycle of rebuilding and destroying, and the one is kind of like has to insert the prime program that's within his head pretty much to reboot the Matrix to kind of that I've been watching the films pretty recently, so it's kind of fresh in my head. But yeah, so he definitely someone's definitely trying to keep him on the blue pill in the trailer. But what's really interesting is in the background of Keanu in one of the scenes or two, they're playing the first Matrix movie in the background. So there's a theory that the Mr. Anderson, Tom Anderson, in the Matrix movie is an actor playing the character from the first Matrix movie. So basically, Keanu's playing himself. That's one of
Oh
the
man,
fan
is this like
theories.
what's that Arnold movie where he plays an actor?
I don't
He
know
keeps.
actually.
Oh, I don't remember what it's called. Uh, anyway, sorry.
So that's a theory. Yeah, the whole Morpheus's son, that's kind of my theory. No one's kind of said that one yet, as far as I know. But uh, Trinity is basically an AI. That's another theory. Like
Like
Keanu,
they couldn't save her, so they recreated her to kind of move him in the motion they want him to go.
yeah. And I know that
Hmm.
there's another Matrix going on right now, like the seventh iteration or whatever long how long it's been. But I think Keanu might be in his like own program by himself, as in like he's the only human. Him or Trinity or both, or just
To
Keanu by
kind of keep
himself.
him active until he's needed, maybe.
Not so much needed like you said, like an antivirus. No, just like
Hmm.
they want to construct his body. Because remember how fucked up he got? Like his eyes
Oh
got
yeah,
burnt. Smith took over his mind for a little while there until they for like at
and they
least
had to. That's how they were able to like finish off
mhm.
the virus known as Smith or whatever his real name was.
Yeah, because Smith, obviously he was able to come in the real world once he took over. What was it Bane's body? No, not Bane. I forget which character, the name of
Hmm.
the character, but he was able to come in the real world. So maybe
Oh yeah, what's his name? Yeah.
maybe they're like reconstructing his neurons in his brain to undo the Smith damage. Because there's that one scene where Keanu looks himself in the mirror and then he transforms into an old man for a split second. People are saying either one, that's his real body, that's his real age, or two, if you pause it and actually look at it, it kind of very much resembles Agent Smith as an old man, or what's his name in real life? Hugo Weaving. It
Hugo
looks
Weaving.
it's I think Hugo Weaving is in the film.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
take
I don't,
that as you will.
so I hope he's in the film because I like him too. But if he's not in it, that's fine because they've already shown in the other movies other agents. So if we were to put him
Miss
in, I wonder what version of him would be in. But then again, what version of the one of Keanu's characters in this?
mhm.
Those are answers that I guess we'll be getting. I'm excited, but I don't have much to say. I'm gonna go take a look at those trailers again when we're done this
I'll send
because
you
I want to see stuff. Yes,
I'll send you some theory videos. Mr. Anderson. So yeah, we'll
Mhm.
see. I'm really looking forward to that. It's coming out this year near Christmas. So yeah, another movie that's coming out near Christmas. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I'm not a big Marvel fan, uh, but like for the whole MCU, I've watched maybe three movies. I think like the first Iron Man, the first Captain America, and
Oh
and
man.
if we're talking the new MCU, like I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man. Like, was it Amazing Spider-Man or what's the new one's called? Is it just called Spider-Man?
It's called Spider-Man, something to do with home in every title. So like Away from Home, Far from Home,
Okay, okay, yeah. So I've watched the
Homecoming.
first. I watched the first three, the ones with Tobey Maguire.
Oh
But
wow.
seeing that, those are the only ones I've seen.
Right.
So seeing this trailer for the new one, I was shocked because I haven't seen the last one, and I really want to see it because Mysterio's in it. And then
Yeah.
getting the spoiler of what happens to Mysterio was a big shock to me. And then finding out Alfred Molina is coming back, I get really excited because I
Yes.
really, really, really loved him as Doc Ock in the last movie,
So
in the second movie he was in, and it was like, oh, I really want to see this now.
so
Go on.
just for our listeners, I am a big MCU buff. I've seen every movie so far. I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, but that just came out not too long ago. So I'll watch that soon. But yeah, I've watched every movie so far. Anyways, I know you don't watch it and I know you want spoilers, so there's very little information I can say. What I will say is somehow Doctor, like, it shows us in the trailer as you saw, like Doctor Strange is involved with this spell that goes wrong that breaks
Mhm.
shatters universes. So people are speculating, kind of like pulling out of the movie for a second. They're kind of going down this route because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man movies, but they teamed up with Marvel for Spider-Man, for this movie, and then there's going to be one other non-Spider-Man movie that's the actor, I forget his name
Tom
now.
Holland? No.
Thank you, Tom Holland is going to have to appear in that. He's contractually obligated to do that, and so is Sony. So that contract ends, I believe, in 2024. So the reason why Marvel's going down this route with the whole shattering of dimensions is because they are free to either go path A, this is the path we take if Sony wants to renew the contract, or path B. This is the path we're going to go down if Sony does not want to renew the contract, and we have to kind of like say adieu to Spider-Man for now.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that. I didn't know that he was only under contract for what, one more movie you said after this one?
It was this
Two more?
movie, I believe. I don't think there's another movie, another Spider-Man movie, but there is one other movie he has to appear,
One other movie, yeah.
like not as a starring
So
role, but just as
yeah.
another movie.
So I wonder if because of this they would then shift over to Spider-Gwen or Miles.
I don't think so
Because
because
would Sony wouldn't own them, they're different Spider-Man. Or do they own the entire franchise of Spider-Man?
they, I see that's
Or
they
have the rights to, I guess is technically a better way to say it.
the umbrella of Spider-Man includes his villains, so that includes Venom, for example, the Venom
Yeah.
movies.
So they couldn't do Spider-Gwen or Gwen Stacy and do or not yes. Marvel slash Disney wouldn't be able to do that without Sony there, right?
Correct, correct.
Oh damn. Well, okay. Well, I would assume if there's another movie that he's scheduled to be in, but you said he's not a main character, because I would have assumed Sinister Six, and you need a Spider-Man in there,
Well,
because otherwise, why are they grouping together, right?
well, I said like he has to be in one other movie. Like it doesn't have to be a Spider-Man movie.
I guess if they call it Sinister Six, it's not technically a
Um,
Spider-Man movie.
the
But
Sinister,
unless if this is going to be their Sinister Six movie and just not call it that,
that's the working theory that this is going to be the Sinister Six movie because we know of Doc Ock, we know of Green Goblin.
yeah,
Those
Green
are in the
Goblin.
trailer, right? Those are two of the
Apparently
characters.
Sandman, but
Sandman, I'm not so sure, but I know.
well, people think that they've seen Sand, so
Um,
I didn't look at the trailer that hard, so
not Shocker. Who's the other electricity
oh, I keep thinking
villain?
Shocker.
It's not Shocker. It's Shocker's the guy with the gloves. We're talking about the other Electro, I think.
Electro.
Electro's part of the Sinister Six. You could put Sandman there. I think he wasn't part of, I could be wrong about this. I don't think
I mean,
he.
as long as there's Spider-Man villain, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but basically
As
that's the working
I was,
theory.
yeah, I was thinking they're going to take like two villains from each of the franchises, and
Mm-hmm.
then they're probably going to have the other Spider-Man in there. People have apparently seen the other two guys in their Spider-Man outfits, but on social media and that, they're saying, no, we're not in it. So they're keeping it very tight-lipped if they're actually in the movie or not, which is smart because I wouldn't want that spoiler already if they're in it. I would like that to be a surprise, even if people know it's happening. Keep it a surprise. Don't spoil that part. Even if a lot of the villains are coming out saying, yeah, we're in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the trailer has obviously already shown them. But just keep as much of it as you can secret to throw in some spoilers, not spoilers, but some surprises here. Like if Mysterio comes back, don't show that to me in the trailer. I think that's a big thing that you need to keep secret.
Well,
Right?
that's a massive
Yeah, like
spoiler if they
if
were
they
to.
brought him back, I would not ever want to see that in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Or that would be a crappy thing to do. But I'm not so keen on Disney and Marvel stuff. You know, here and there some stuff. So, but I am kind of excited. Don't know if I'll actually see the movie because I should probably watch the first two or at least the last one at the very least. So
Yeah, the payoff will be worth it because you'll actually
mm,
understand the context of why this whole thing's happening in the first place and what exactly Mysterio did and how he tricked
yeah,
Peter in the movie and all this,
yeah.
and how I'm sure you heard of what happens at the very end of the
Uh,
last movie with Spider-Man.
Apparently, yeah. So I
They
will
all
whenever I watch it.
all I'll say is they brought back the original actor that was in the first three Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire for J. Jonah Jameson. I want pictures of Spider-Man. They brought him
He
back.
is
They brought him back.
out of all of the movies and stuff, he's the best guy to play J. Jonah. He is the best, and I'm so happy he came back to to bring back that character. It is probably the best thing they've done. So,
He is the best human being on the planet to play J. Jonah Jameson without a shadow of a doubt.
oh yeah, it's not very often you get a real life person. You go, that's the perfect person for that. Like
Yeah,
it's almost like that the person drawing the comics or creating the character said, I've got this vision of this actor, but and just create him in the comic books, but not actually have it be him. Like it kind of like what's her name who plays Laura Croft. I think she's
Angelina
really
Jolie.
good. Yeah, I think she's really good as Angelia. Or what? I think she's really good as Laura Croft. And it was like wow, you mean you're telling me that she wasn't made up to be this character? Sure, they padded her chest, like, they apparently padded her chest a lot more, even though she is pretty big. Like, they actually had to pad her chest even more to be Laura. But I'm like, she's really good and can actually do a lot of that stunt that she does in the movies. So
Hmm.
there's like him and Jay Jonah. There's like a couple others I could point out that are like perfect. Like, you couldn't have gotten anyone better.
Yep.
Like kind of like Rick and Morty getting Christopher Lloyd to play Rick. As gross as
Oh
it is
my
to see a
God.
live action, as gross
Yes.
as it is seeing the live action version of Rick and him just being a pig. It's so gross. But like in real life, in the cartoon, you can laugh at it, but in real life, I'm just like, oh, it's so gross. Why is Christopher Lloyd doing this? Doc Brown, please stop. But he's the best character to play that role
We gotta go
because
back,
it's
Marty.
him.
Back to the past. So yeah, did you want to hit the last bit of kind of like media up in terms of media news? Like I'm kind of hinting towards the Star Wars thing, or do you want to move on to something else?
We could briefly talk on it. I don't have much to say. Like I watched the trailer. Um, I don't know if I like it or not. Um, Not saying that I wouldn't watch it or enjoy it when I watch it. What timeline does this take place? Is it specifically state?
So for our listeners, we're talking about a series that's about to come out on Disney
I
Plus. It's
think it
called,
has come
oh,
out.
has it come out? Okay, it's
I
called,
think it has.
yeah, I think you're right. Actually, in the past like day or two, I think you're right. It's called Star Wars Visions. I don't have Disney Plus at the moment. I plan on
And
watching it, but basically, oh, September 22nd. So it's actually tomorrow, Chris, is when it's
oh,
coming out.
I saw something on YouTube saying I've seen the show. I'm like, so it's out already? But whatever.
Yeah,
If it's dropped tomorrow for everyone.
it's coming out tomorrow. I just looked at the YouTube video in the description. It says September 22nd. So basically, this is technically a series, but it's kind of one of those. It's kind of like it's done by Japanese artists. It's basically Star Wars plus anime, except it's actually what it sounds like. It's not a bastardization of either or. It's actually a very, from what I saw in the trailer on YouTube, it's a very smooth, very coherent take. It's an anime that is based in the Star Wars universe, but it's a series, but each episode it's kind of like its own thing. It has new characters, it has a new storyline, it
Oh,
has
it's the
slightly different.
Animatrix.
But yes, yes,
Yeah.
it's a Star Wars Matrix, pretty much.
That's why it was such varying degrees of quality.
Yes.
Because there's some very simple ones with very expressive characters, but then there was very higher quality, looked like CG, very
Hmm.
smooth and shiny that just didn't fit the style of the other characters. So I didn't know what was going on.
Well,
I didn't know why.
I hope that makes sense to you now.
Yeah, it does now.
You probably want to
Uh,
rewatch a trailer with that mindset.
Possibly. But I was wondering, like, if they all take place in the same universe, i.e., like they in the 9 movies, or if this is before or after, because it looked like, at least in part of it, the troopers had very similar stormtrooper armor to the movies. So makes me think that this isn't in the past, like in the Old Republic era. But then again, they have like big starships from the new movies and the old movies, right? The intergalactic fighters in that. Uh, I don't know if I'd be very interested in seeing it. Not saying I would watch it, but I guess maybe if it's like a kind of like an animatrix thing, like different artists, different companies working on different aspects of it, it could be very interesting because they showed very samurai looking thing that reminded me of like the samurai like samurai stormtrooper and samurai Darth Vader figures that were coming out in the last few years. That looked really cool actually. I kind of wanted to get them, um, but I withheld. But seeing something like that, not quite the very samurai armor, but like on a planet that seems to be stuck in like Edo, Japan, but also very futuristic. It seemed a bit odd that planet they were on, and I don't know the race, but the race kind of looked like to me if it was Usagi Yojimbo, like they were a rabbit race, big ears. Uh, well, I think it was one of the races here who is a character that I think gets a lightsaber. And that put me off right away, not because of the race, but I'm like, oh, lightsabers are like, I guess it's bound to happen, but if they're doing multiple stories, I hope specifically there's ones that aren't about the Jedi and Sith. I want to see what's happening in the universe with different characters. Kind of like what they did with the first few episodes of Mandalorian. How
Mm-hmm.
it was just about the Mandalorian and what he was up to. But I haven't watched Mandalorian, so I could be talking BS because I don't know what's going on in that show.
It's
But it could be really good. It could be really bad. It doesn't really have to stick to a timeline if it's more of a animatrix kind of thing. So
yeah.
I don't know. It looks interesting, and I wanted to see what artists were on this companies, and that would make sense for it being like multiple companies that I couldn't find what company was doing the episode or doing the series because it's multiple ones. So because I saw some animations in here that made me think of other companies, and I want to make sure if it was them doing it. But then again, it's multiple. But go on. It's just interesting me. That's all.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it, but basically it's kind of just what we're doing now already on Disney Plus, the whole Marvel's What If. It's a completely animated series, but it's basically, each episode is its own thing. Like what if Doctor Strange um kind of, became evil and he kind of tried to break time by preventing his girlfriend or wife from dying in the car accident that kind of
Mm.
put him down the path. What
Or
what if a lot of I know where you're going with this. What if there's like a
you don't
zombie
know where I'm going
outbreak?
with this.
If there's a zombie outbreak and a lot of Marvel heroes and villains become zombies, what happens then?
Oh, or what if Goku landed at Capsule Corp and was raised by Dr. Brief instead of by Grandpa Gohan? You get a completely different character. You get a smart Goku who actually attended school. The Dragon Ball live action movie could have actually been true.
Let's not discuss that alternate universe,
No, but
please.
I think Masako X would. I think he has. I haven't seen his videos on this. What if Raditz didn't die but lived and ended up living on Earth along with Goku and his friends and became friends with them? Would he marry Launch?
Which
Would,
one?
would, would well, they're the same person,
I
but I
know.
think I
Well,
so I'm not sure.
which one do we actually get married to like at the time when they say I do?
Oh, yellow-haired Launch, of
Okay.
course. Like, do you really think Raditz being insane would want to go with a meek, timid Launch or the aggressive one that wants to fight?
Don't kink shame him.
So I think it would be the blonde-haired one until he found out. But yes, Moscow X, I like his channel. He's the one, if you don't know, that voices
Yeah, I know.
Goku in Dragon Ball Abridged.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I think we're good on that. I think that's kind of like all the entertainment news. But I do want to go
yeah, at
back
least stuff we
to
want to talk about now.
yeah. We're about. I think we're a little under an hour, so maybe we can just.
Yeah, we could do one or two more things
Well,
depending
no,
on.
no, like I think we're good to cover everything we want to talk about today, Chris. I mean, this is our first episode, so we took some time, about 20 minutes, talking about ourselves. So yeah, I think we can power through the rest if that's okay.
Yep,
All right. This is something you want to talk about, or should I pick a topic here?
I think you should. I'm trying to go through our little segment here, but you could go ahead. You've got it all set up already.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
something I wanted to talk about was you kind of pointed this out to me. It was in the news a lot last week. Well, kind of like at the start of the month. So yeah, Sony has been pretty anti-consumer lately. I'm not trying to be a fanboy. It's just it is what it is because there's a game that they came out with called Horizon Forbidden West. They came out with the PS4 version, and now Sony promised their consumers that if you upgrade to the PS5 version, it will be free. And then they kind of backtracked on that promise. They said, well, now whenever you upgrade, at least for us, for our games, when you go from PS4 to PS5, there's a $10 fee. And fans got extremely pissed at this because they promised them that this upgrade would be free. So Sony was forced to backtrack and say, okay, fine. You guys can get this upgrade for free, but going forward after this one, you have to start paying $10 per game. And now I like to point out what their competitor, or at least their main one, Microsoft does. They have something called Smart Delivery. And it's one of those things, it's kind of like an IT tech guy. If they're doing their
Mhm.
job correctly, you'll never even know it was there. So Actually, I'll let you respond before I go ahead. Yeah, with the whole Sony thing, I think is very anti-consumer.
It is very anti-consumer. If they promise something, did they delay the game to 2022 just so they could say, well, it didn't come out in 2021?
I don't
Or am
know.
I incorrect on the delay?
I don't know.
Because their thing was that if it's coming out in 2022, that doesn't apply. But everything being re-released in 2021, that's a re-release or whatever they said. They had like a list of games, and all that would have a cover. Would you would have to pay again or pay extra to have it convert over. But then they're saying, no, 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 you gotta do it for this. It's very sleazy. It's like that they thought that they could get away with trying to charge another 80, what Canada, it's like 100, almost $100 for a new game.
Hmm.
It's insane. And doing that for a game that you had previously said, hey, it's gonna be a free upgrade. Hey, now it's gonna cost you $80. Hey, now it's gonna be $10. No, you guys promised it at this. You should leave it at that. Stop trying to take more and more money from people from things you promised. You guys, like, yeah, like this console generation is going real slow. People can't get the consoles in their homes as is. They're already really expensive for us, and they're it's just really really shitty for them to do that. They should keep the promise of what it originally was and stop with the BSing.
Hmm.
You're saying something about their competitor, who I know Sony doesn't really look at Nintendo as a competitor, but the biggest one, obviously Microsoft. So what are they doing?
Yeah, so I kind of jumped the gun on that one.
Mhm.
So they have something that they advertised with this new console called Smart Delivery, and I've used it and I can testify it's really good because you don't even notice what it's doing. It's just going in the background. So there's a lot of components. So it's not just one or two things. So first of all, a good thing about this is that your save file comes with you wherever you are. It doesn't matter if you gamed on the Series X and then went backwards to one gen to like your friend's house to play on your Xbox One. It doesn't matter if you're on your phone, on the web browser, wherever you can play Game Pass. Your save file comes with you. You might be thinking,
Like,
not you, Chris, but anyone might be thinking, yeah, so what? Isn't that a normal thing? No, because let's take, for example, the PS4 to PS5 upgrade for of Marvel's Avengers. What do you have to do for that? You had to, as a PlayStation 5 owner, let's say you just bought a PS5 and you already own Avengers for PS4. What you had to do was either download or install, depending if you had the digital or physical version of the game, onto your PS5 for both the PS4 and the PS5 versions at the same time on your hard drive. And that's the only way you could have transferred your save file from the PS4 to the PS5. You had to have downloaded both games at the same time to initiate this upgrade just to transfer your save file, just for that one feature, let
yeah,
alone.
it's a good thing that no one's playing Marvel's Avengers anymore, so that will never be an issue.
But I think, yeah, I get it's a joke, but I think it's more,
Yeah,
it applies to a lot more games than that, right?
of course. But jokes aside, it's a really shitty thing. Like I don't have the new system, but I've got PS3 and PS4, and none of this stuff you could ever. I know, like there weren't too many games you could do this, but there are some games that always do the cross-gen thing. At least within the last few generations, and it's really shitty that you have to like, especially this one, you have to download both copies of the game, verify that they're both the different versions, because sometimes Sony will just auto download apparently the previous version of the game and not tell you it's not the new one,
Hmm.
and then tell you to delete and then re-download the new version. And then if you want your save files, tell you, oh, you need to re-download the old version. Like it is such garbage. It's just a save file, and they have it like I assume that when you're saving the file, it's saved like this is PS4 save files here, PS5 save files here, but it's not a unified thing. It's not like you're downloading it to your hard drive under a save file folder like you would on your PC.
Hmm.
It's like save files. This game, here's your save file. It's like Sony's doing it like it's a PS3 save files this, PS4 save files this, and none of them can read what is in each other's thing unless if you specify go to this to this to this. It's such garbage and horseshit. How
And
bad and obfuscated it is.
and the main reason why I bring up smart deliveries because Microsoft customers will never have to worry about this. So I don't know why Sony's charging their customers $10 and Microsoft is like, hey, smart delivery, you have an Xbox One, that's fine. You download this version. And if you have a Series X, it'll say, oh, hey, you have a Series X. Would you like to download additional files to kind of, upgrade your game to like the better graphics and
Mm.
audio, whatever else is included? Sure. And guess what? Your save file comes with you. You don't have to download two versions. I'm not
You
saying
don't
that.
have to convert the save file
No,
probably.
no.
Like,
The save file, even if you're playing single player games, it's always with you on the cloud. Even if you only save on your hard drive, it will always back up to the cloud every time. It doesn't even ask you, just automatically does it. And unlike what you just said, there's no PS4 and PS5 save files. On Xbox, it's just the same save file. Like, I'm not a
yeah,
big.
they're treating the console as a PC, like they are. They're just
Mhm.
mini PC, or not mini, but they're basically PCs now. Treat them like one. And you'd think Sony would understand this.
Yeah.
Microsoft definitely does. They are mostly a PC company, so I see them understanding this a lot sooner than Sony. But for Sony just to be so behind,
Listen, I'm not here to tell like smart delivery. I'm here to criticize Sony. You should not be charging your customers $10 for a fucking upgrade when your
you
biggest
shouldn't.
competitor does not. How does that make you think it looks to them? That, right? Again,
Mhm.
it's a bad business move. You've lost some rep with your fans when you promise one thing and then you get greedy and you want to charge them anyways.
Yeah,
Fuck the
it's a shitty
promises.
look.
Like
It's oh,
like
sorry.
it's like I'm not the biggest Gears of War fan, but I've had Gears 5 on my Xbox One. I can go on the PC on my Windows 10 machine, and my save file will come with me, like at the title screen where press, it's where it says press A to start or whatever, press start to start. It'll say like syncing for like 2 seconds and show like a progress bar. That's my new file syncing with my game. That's my save file coming with me. And then I got a Series X, and it's like, oh, hey, do you want to download additional files to make your game look better? Essentially, I said sure.
Mm,
And then I just started the game up, and my file was waiting for me there. I didn't have to do anything. It was just
mm.
seamless. I don't have to download any additional files that's unnecessary, and it asks me if I want to. So it's kind of why it's not that hard to program, Sony. And that's not just that. I bet you they purposely didn't program it like that just so they could charge a $10. I bet you.
Hmm. Just to kind of end on this, I want to ask for the file syncing and stuff like that, do you have to pay for I was gonna say PS Plus, but that's the wrong company.
Oh, Xbox Live Gold.
Xbox Live, do you need
You
that?
might have to for that. I'm not sure. I've had Xbox Live continuous like the last like 10 years, so I'm not actually
Okay,
sure.
so you're not sure, you've always had it, so
Yeah.
okay. I'm I do not know. I don't own I mean I think I own the 360. I haven't plugged it
Right.
in
Um
forever, but just so I don't really know this stuff. I don't uh, yeah, sorry.
no,
And
I
I've had the various PlayStation formats, and I know none of this is on there. And these companies, at least on the like last gens and that, have been trying to take away a lot of stuff and put it on their premium platforms and take away more stuff. But I think Microsoft is kind of doing a way better on that and trying to offer more stuff for free members. I don't know. You could maybe answer that better for me.
Can you repeat that again?
Like on previous gens, they kept taking away, you can't play online unless you pay for a premium service. You can't do this unless you pay for the premium service, yada yada. And it seems that Sony keeps going down that path and wanting, more and more money out of you for every little tiny thing. Whereas Microsoft is like, here you go for free. As long as you use our service for free, play on Windows and on our Windows Phone or Windows PC,
Hmm.
and you have an Xbox, get your save files for free, I'm hoping. And Sony is adamant on no. I mean, Sony's been, like you said before, extremely anti-consumer.
Hmm.
Yeah, in over the last however long. So,
Um, I would agree with that. I think Sony is going down that path. Microsoft or has already been down that path, but it's not that they're backtracking, they're just making more incentives now to make it worthwhile. Don't forget, and again, I'm not I
I probably have forgotten.
well, again,
But go on.
I'm trying to like I'll call out any company. Doesn't matter if it's Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, or a PC developer. Like I'll call out anyone, regardless of what I have or what I play. I'm kind of very anti fanboy in that way, but I'm just prefacing this. Like even Xbox was guilty of this. Like less than a year ago, they wanted to increase the price of Xbox Live Gold / Game Pass, but there's such
Yep.
backlash. They reverted. They're like, okay, we heard you. We'll keep the price the same. Please calm down. So they did. So that's good on them that they're willing to listen right away. Right? Like there's
Yeah.
like almost like 48 hours, and they were like, okay, we heard you loud and clear. Whatever. Um, so I really wish Sony would like have done the same here. Like, yeah, they made it right for the one game, but they're still not keeping their word. They're
Yeah.
they're revoking it for one game, but then they're just gonna still keep down the path. So yes, and there's some things that like are part of Game Pass. Like I've gone 2 free months of Disney Plus. There's 3 months of Spotify. I'm not really into that, but there's like free everything. There's free content for your game, free DLC. Game Pass is more than just like PSN. Like here you go. Like everyone gets free games every month, whatever. But then there's other perks, right?
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't remember all that you get anymore with PS Plus. I don't play online on my consoles. Most of the games I play are single player games.
Mhm.
So online play doesn't really matter to me. And if I do multiplayer, I just look at Steam or other various PC platforms to go, well, I'll try and convince friend who I want to play with on this to get it on PC so we can play. So I don't want to have to pay extra just to play, 1 or 2 games online a year that I do.
All right.
But that's me. I don't really do the PS Plus anymore and Xbox anymore. So
I haven't, and we're kind of going off topic. That's all right. We can go off
oh yeah,
topic
we
for a
are.
couple of minutes. I haven't paid for Game Pass in the past 2 years, and it's extended for like a year and a half still on my account. So I'm damn
Nice.
sure making use of that. So I just basically, it's a self-perpetuating cycle. Because I have Game Pass, there are opportunities to earn Microsoft points, and I do that every week. It's like a 2-minute routine in the morning, and I have enough points eventually that I can kind of just like, it's a self-perpetuating. So
You
what do
gotta do
you
your daily.
would you not want like a Netflix for your console? Or like I use it on my PC, on my Xbox, but you can also, if you really want to, bring onto your phone or even the web browser, and you can hook up your controller if you can, if you have the technology for it, like in any circumstance. Microsoft said we don't really care about consoles as much as we used to. We care about Game Pass. We want to bring Game Pass everywhere, even Nintendo and Sony consoles if they'll let us. So I think that's a very smart business move. But again, we're kind of going off topic, so we can kind of, if you're done, well, I'm done with this, so I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I'm done. Sony's
Okay.
just being Sony and being extremely anti-consumer. But speaking on that as being, I don't know if you would say anti-consumer, but it is an extension of something that Nintendo is already doing, and I think it's a good thing. But it depends on what kind of games they bring to it. Nintendo is apparently going to bring, oh, what was it? Game Boy Advance games, not DS, right? Just Advance. I don't have the news article up for me.
It's Game Boy and Game Boy Colors Switch Online.
Right, sorry, I got that wrong. Game Boy and Game Boy Color, not Advance. I really would love Advance to appear in Switch Online, but it's Game Boy, Game Boy Color. So they're expanding it a bit, getting more games on there. So we'll be seeing like what was it Super Mario? What was it? World? No, not World.
Which game are you thinking of? Like,
Any of the handheld Mario games that were specifically for that. It wasn't World, or was it Wario? No,
no, it wasn't World. World was for Super Nintendo originally. You're thinking about Super Mario Land, I believe.
Super Mario Land is what I'm thinking of. Thank you. So you'll see like Super Mario Land and stuff like that on there. We unfortunately, as we've seen with like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo ones, we're probably not going to get a lot of the big company ones. Like we won't see the Capcom games appearing on here. We're not going to see Square Enix games appearing on here unless they made a deal and started to get some of the bigger title. Oh, sorry. Oh, got a frog in my throat. But yeah, I don't think we'll see a lot of bigger titles, but we should see some nice old Nintendo properties that they got on there, and possibly some remixes of them. Because if you didn't know, on the NES and Super NES versions of like Metroid and Zelda, these sometimes come out with little remix versions of the games. Like uh, for Zelda 1, I saw one It had you with max hearts, I believe the Master Sword, and you had all the items, so you could just go wherever you want in the
Hmm.
game map and just have fun. I think they did the same thing with Metroid, possibly, and it just gives a nice little remix version. Possibly there is even a remix version of it where some places are in different locations. I don't know if they went that far, but they sometimes every now and then allow the people who are putting these games back up to do little changes to the games and make different versions of them to be played and have a little bit of fun with the old games. And I wonder if they'll continue to do that with the older games like Mario Land, or there's got to be a Zelda on there and a Metroid on Game Boy Color and Game Boy, right? There was what? Right? I don't remember.
Zelda and
But
Mario, you said, or
yeah, Zelda and Metroid.
yeah, there's Link's Awakening, and then there's Metroid 2: Samus Returns
Oh,
on Game
yes.
Boy.
So I'm sure you'll get those and some other games. I just wonder how many, because if you compare how much is on the Nintendo, Super Nintendo and Nintendo Online already, it's definitely not a big selection of what was released on those consoles. But I believe it's all or most of the stuff that Nintendo has brought up, plus a few other stuff. I think it's good just adding more stuff to it and trying to make it a little bit more worth the money for people who actually use that service. It is, of course, a service that is streamed to you, I believe. It's not like you download the game and play it in an emulator, so you will need like to be connected to the internet, I believe, to continue to play the games and the Nintendo Online service, which I believe is pretty cheap. I don't remember what the price was. But yeah, I personally think it's good, even if they're not. Uh, I guess it's a little anti-consumer in a way, but I think you'll have something to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of news to me. Like if they added a few extra kind of like bells and whistles to the game, that's great. I'm glad they're doing that. I encourage that a lot. But yeah, again, not trying to fanboy or anti-fanboy here, but in my opinion, Nintendo has been anti-consumer for a long time. Like how many times do I have to buy the original Super Mario Brothers, right? Like you can buy it on your, DS, your 3DS, your Wii, your Wii U, your Switch.
Mm.
It's like your transfer, or sorry, your purchases do not transfer over per system. Like it's
Like,
stuck on that ecosystem. Wherever you bought it, it's stuck. You own
yeah,
it, but unlike PlayStation or Sony, it's stuck on that one system forever. Like you can't, like I shouldn't have to buy the same game 5 times because I have 5 different Nintendo consoles. That's
hey Nintendo, I bought Earthbound and Earthbound Zero on the what was it? Not Switch, before the Switch, on the Wii U. I think that's what they were on. I want to play that on my Switch so I don't have to plug in that decrepit corpse of a Wii U to play this game. Just let me bring over the games I bought, but I can't. I have to play them on the console they were put on, so I have to plug back in my Wii U. The
I
Wii U's.
God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, and this kind of is going off the, on a tangent again, but I'm not gonna hold on to it too much. But it's kind of what Sony's doing with wanting to close their PS3 and Vita stores down not too long ago, and there's some huge backlash. Same thing. There's no. It's like there's some games that are digital games only. We have to keep that in mind. Not every game is available physically, so it's
Hmm.
important that our digital storefronts are protected and our purchases are kept. But that's not always going to be the case. So.
Yeah, we can't get a hold of, like as I was saying, the Earthbound series or Mother series.
Hmm.
Unless if I had a Super Nintendo and a modded version of the original of Earthbound 1, I can't play that without, or yeah, I can't play Earthbound 1 without the Wii or Wii U, whatever version I bought it on. It's stuck there. Uh, I can't play Earthbound unless if I have the Super Nintendo or the Wii U, Wii version, whichever one I got. And that's it. And I'm not shelling out that much money for the Super Nintendo version of Earthbound. Are you crazy? It's like 600 or more now because of the pandemic. It is insane how much that goes. It's not even a complete version of the game. It's just the cart. It is bloody awful. Like, and I we'll talk about, just get the Super Nintendo Classic if I want to play that game. I can't get a hold of it, and that thing could go for a few $100. It's not worth that much for that game.
Remember how I said at the start of the podcast I was a bit of a collector? I actually have. That was like my Christmas gift. I asked my parents, "Can I have like Earthbound?" So they bought me a new copy. It comes. I still have the box. I still have the strategy guide. I still have the original cartridge. I have all the
Oh,
inserts. I have it. So that's what I mean. It's like
is
I
it in good
love
condition?
Earthbound. The
You
game
should
is
slap it. No,
no. The game is fine, and you'll be happy about this one, Chris. The strategy guide, it's complete still, but I there's so much use that two or three of the pages have been like ripped out, like down the
Mhm.
seam. I still have the pages, but they're like loose. If
Yeah.
I were to open the book, the pages will fall out. But their
I mean,
pages are still
it's
there.
well
They're still
used.
there. They're still there. It's still
A
complete.
well used book.
It's a well used book. It's not put into an airtight package, and so it looks pretty on my shelf. Screw that. That's not.
Yeah.
No.
So I am happy that Nintendo's bringing out more stuff onto that service, but I wish that they'd get their online service sorted out and allow us to have the digital games we purchased on the new consoles. It sucks that they haven't figured that out or just won't allow it to happen. So
It's
yeah.
it's funny to me that Nintendo and Sony both being Japanese companies and like kind of like the base of technology, they're the ones who don't really care about backwards compatibility and or game preservation, whereas
It yeah.
Xbox does, which is very ironic.
It's a problem a lot with, as I've seen with a lot of Japanese companies, especially with like we'll say with the fighting game community, the FGC.
Hmm.
Um, how a lot of the Japanese companies like um, Capcom and the other ones that do fighting games don't want to put in the free net code and other things like that, or put in good was it rollback net code, the
Rollback.
GPL,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they just refuse to do that unless if they make it or say it's good enough because it works well in Japan. Like you're a tiny little country, and
Hmm.
I can't connect to you from Canada. I can't play a good fighting game with you who lives on the other side of the country that I'm on in a fighting game without there being massive amounts of lag. And but hopefully new games like Guilty Gear can show them that you can have good netcode. I could play that if I owned it, but I don't. I could play that with someone in Japan and have almost perfect netcode because the netcode in that is so strong. But uh, Capcom and the others just look at it and go, no. Like there seems to be an issue with them going, well, this is the way we do it, and we're not changing. And they're very, very stubborn on change.
Yeah.
It seems. I think that's a good way to put it.
It's a
I don't
cultural
know
thing.
too much about it, but it could be based on the culture or just like the dinosaurs who are running those companies are just refusing to change. So I'm hoping for a meteor. I'm hoping for meteor. Sephiroth to come down on his meteor and just slam into specifically like maybe 10 or so companies and kill off all the dinosaurs in them so we get some fresh heads in
I know you'll get this
there.
reference, Chris. Sephiroth. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. Anyways. Yeah, I think yeah, the Japanese culture again, I think is a very stubborn culture, which is it is what it
Hmm.
is, and it kind of shows in the game development scene
I
as
mean
well.
that kind of stems from where they've come from in the past too. So
Yeah.
like how the government in that has evolved slash hasn't evolved and how it used to be, or whether or not Yakuza are involved, like with uh what do you call it, Sega.
Is that a rumor?
I believe it's been almost confirmed,
What?
but
What? Okay, we're
yeah,
talking about this on the next podcast, by the way.
um,
The next episode.
there's not much. There's not much to say. I could clear it up a little bit. The guy who makes, I don't remember his name, but the one who's heading up the Yakuza game series has basically said on camera, "I'm friends with Yakuza, and they like these games, and they think these games are cool." And there's been other shady stuff that has to do with that. But the weird thing is that it's it may not be a thing because Nintendo explicitly states in their business deals with people you cannot have ties to Yakuza, or else we won't do business with you. So I don't know how true that is, or if that's something in the past or what.
That's
But
oddly specific.
Which one?
You can't have ties to the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Well, why not just say
Okay.
any criminals in that
So
case?
we'll end on this. We'll end on this. Big Nintendo leak that happened like a year ago. Still stuff is being leaked out of that, and one of them was documents that people that the basically business documents that are signed for you to be able to have dealings with Nintendo. And one of them explicitly said you can't have dealings with Yakuza, can't have dealings with the captains, can't have dealings with the corporals, can't have dealings with anyone that is associated with Yakuza. This is explicitly what Nintendo puts in their documents that you cannot deal with them. So I don't know how true the Sega Yakuza thing is. It might have been something in the past, or may not have been. But yeah, it's something that has been there, and I don't know if it's still there or not, or what's going on. But yeah, I'll just leave it there because I don't know all the details, and a lot of that detail may not ever come to light because who no one. I assume if they want to keep dealing with Nintendo, they don't want to say, yeah, like we talk to Yakuza all the time, and they're part of our company.
That's a good
So,
selling point. Buy our games. The Yakuza like them.
our games, you are supporting Yakuza, and not the Yakuza games, the actual Yakuza.
Oh man. Okay. I think we're good on that point.
I think that's good. I don't know if you have anything else to say. If you want to end it there,
No, we can
since
we can end. I think that's a perfect stopping point for
all
that
right. We'll end it
piece.
there. Support the Yakuza, everyone. No, don't support them.
I still think that's super oddly specific that they're not saying all criminals. Just hey, other criminals are cool, just not the Yakuza
Well,
guys.
the Yakuza are kind of most of the criminals in Japan, to be fair, right? Like, really. Like, I assume maybe in other countries they might have it worded differently, but they explicitly say the Yakuza. You go down every rank of Yakuza member. Like, really, like it was very detailed.
Huh.
Like, so
All right. Well, we have about, I don't know, I'd say half an hour. So I think we can breeze through these next few pretty easily. Maybe this next one. Excuse me.
half hour still?
Well, well, the kind of interruption in the stream kind of, I think,
Okay,
I
yeah.
think, I
Uh,
think we have a half an
yeah,
hour.
I just noticed the upload. So yeah, we could go for a little bit longer.
Okay, so I'll try to make this one a little quick. So again, this happened in the States. So me and Chris are both from Canada, so we don't really number one, we don't have a foot in the race to start off with, even though, you can kind of guess on which side of the issue we lean on. Although I'm not trying to make this into a political thing. We're going to try and avoid political things on this podcast, and this is probably
Yeah.
as closest to one as we're going to become. So just
We're
kind of
gonna
a
try and focus on the gaming side of this if we
yeah.
can. I'm
hmm
sure our bias will come through,
So
unfortunately.
TLDR is this happened. Let me look really quick. This happened about 2.5 weeks ago, give or take. There was a law passed in Texas about abortion, right? Whether it doesn't matter which side of the coin you stand on that, but basically there was like I think it was a 5-4 vote that it's now legal or it will be pretty soon that if you know a woman and she's on her way to get an abortion, like past the 6 week gestation period of the fetus. So this is only after 6 weeks. Before 6 weeks is fine. But in Texas, after 6 weeks, they made a new law now that basically said, okay, so now there's basically a bounty system. So any private citizen, like you or me, if we live in Texas, I could sue anyone that's about to go to an abortion clinic if I know that to be true for $10,000. And
Oh,
and and it's not just the woman. If you're an Uber driver and she calls an Uber and the Uber driver has no business to ask the woman where she's going, right? Just take me to the hospital. Okay, maybe she's like in danger, or, maybe she has an appointment. That Uber driver can also be sued. Isn't that kind of fucked up?
that's one of the
But
dumbest
that's
bloody things
yeah,
I've ever heard.
but
I can't
that's
believe.
that's not really game related, but what I'm about to say kind of ties together. So basically there
Oh, and that's tied together to gaming
yeah,
related.
yeah. We're going to quickly backtrack in terms of, hang on, this is a gaming kind of podcast. We're not talking about political stuff necessarily. So, because of this law, there is the CEO of, which company was it? Tripwire.
Rebellion? No.
It was
What?
Tripwire. They make games like The Killing Floor and Man Eater, like the shark game where you eat people. This is
Yeah, that's a cool game.
I never played it, but yeah, it's on Game Pass. Anyways, so the CEO of this company of Tripwire went on his
Mm,
personal Twitter account and stupidly said, "Hey, I don't usually take political stances, but
right.
I'm really pro-life and, glad that this law made it through." And we're thinking like, "Oh my god, how fucking stupid are you? You just admitted you shouldn't be saying this as a CEO on your personal Twitter because that looks bad on your Twitter bio. And if you actually open his Twitter page, it'll say like, like CEO of Tripwire."
Okay. I was just gonna say, if it's his personal Twitter, that's fine. But how is his Twitter set up? What does it say in his bio? Is it explicitly saying, like, how do I put this? Is he explicitly saying, I'm the CEO of this company, this is the company I run, and look at all the stuff that my company makes? Or is it, this is my personal bio and has nothing to do with anything I do in terms of my job?
So at the time that he made the statement, all it said was CEO of Tripwire. But now he's changed it because he's since, this is part of the news we're kind of bringing to you. He's since has been fired for his remarks, and they had to
Mm.
issue a statement saying his reviews don't reflect the company's as a
So
whole. But so
he didn't,
now
oh, go on.
to answer your question, he changed his Twitter bio like right now as of September 21st to currently full-time philanthropist, continue helping the poor and underprivileged of the world, including orphans and widows. What the fuck? Are you
Mm.
really taking the moral high ground in this?
So
Like,
I don't know the guy. Uh, didn't really pay attention to him really outside of this, but if his Twitter bio basically was saying, you know, without stating that this is his personal Twitter and has nothing to do with the companies he's attached to, I'd be not 100% okay with what he said, but he would be okay to say it. But the fact that he's saying, hey, I'm attached to this company and that's it, and that then puts a big spotlight on these views of the company. I think it's a really, really stupid thing to do without explicitly saying this has 100% nothing to do with the company. Like taking it away, even though it would still look maybe a little bad for the company, he would still have that disbelief, I guess is a good way to put it, of this is separate from them. Do not include these guys with what I say here, right? If you understand what I mean.
I do.
Like you're just trying to put him and his views away from the companies, far away, because I believe immediately after that, as you said, they said this has nothing to do with the company, and I believe they got rid of him like real quick. Apparently, is it Rebellion? A couple other indie companies that work with them said, um, we don't want nothing to do with this company if these are the views. And
Hmm.
if these are the views are being shared by the CEO of the company, it's like we don't want anything to do with them. This will be like our last game we're publishing through them, or we're not publishing anything through them ever again. Even the game we're currently working on. It's like, wow, okay, these guys quickly spoke up against this, and apparently the company had gotten rid of them like pretty fast, if I'm to believe, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so it's shitty that he did that without explicitly stating these things. I'm okay with him stating his views because those are his views, but keep them away from your work stuff because it affects a lot more people than just you. Like, I know it's very hard if he's being a CEO, him wanting to promote his stuff or, to tell people what he's associated with, but also wanting to express his own personal views. you know but it's gonna be hard, but there is a way to do it, and I don't think he did it in the good way. I think maybe he's learned a bit about maybe how to disassociate himself, hopefully, from certain things, but I don't know. uh and I don't know what this guy outside of this personal news, so as far as I know, he was an okay guy. Sorry, I don't know. I don't have nothing to say about him other than you should have you should have thought about this a little bit more clearly before you spoke up and disassociated yourself before you
Hmm.
got fired or whatever. It may have still come to this decision, but now you made a lot of people look bad. A lot of other indie companies have to step up and take a stance immediately, and it affected you and the company. So it's shitty on both ends.
Yeah, I mean, again, regardless of which side of the law you agree with, if it should have been passed or
Mhm.
not been passed. It's like, how, like, you're supposed to be a smart dude being a CEO of the company. Some people have a lot of academic smarts, but they're stupid when it comes to street smarts. Like they don't have any common sense, and that's not something you can be taught. You either have common sense or you don't.
Mhm.
And that guy had no common sense. Like, he opened his tweet with, basically, um, I don't usually tweet about this stuff, but well, when you
Oh,
when you say,
you turned robot there just for a second. We
oh,
said
did I?
cut.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you're good now. You're good now.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Anyways, yeah, but anyways, there is, like, why would you make a statement like that when you're the
Yeah,
CEO of any company? Now that you're a gaming company, games more so than other products, just by happenstance, is going to be more susceptible to like this sort of outcry on social media. Like, if someone of a furniture store CEO said this, no one's going to care nearly as much as games, right? So
I would think so. Games are a huge industry nowadays, and lots of people are looking at them now for entertainment purposes, and hopefully to get away from political strife,
mhm.
uh, ideals. No, political anything. They just want to sit down and game for a lot of people and just chill out, which is what I like to do.
Yeah.
And I wish I could stay away from these sort of things as much as I can,
Mhm.
but not much we could do. There is a lot of BS in the company. There's also, or in the industry, there's also lots of good. And I guess it's trying to wade through the waters of what you want to see or can't see. And some stuff you can't see, especially when they blow up on Twitter,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
that's it for that for me.
he's really stupid. That's all. Like, I don't think he's
Mm,
a all I'm going to end on off with is stupid. Yes, I don't think he's legitimately, despite his point of view, a bad person per se. There's
hopefully
like,
not.
I don't think he is. I think he has a wrong perspective on his life being privileged like he is, because if you're a CEO, you're making a butt ton of money. So I don't think he has the perspective of other people, but I don't think that or what he said necessarily makes him a villain. I think he's an idiot. Maybe he's a bad person, but like, he's not like, like, he's not like the scum of the earth sort of thing. I don't
Yeah,
think
there's
I
we talked about a couple of scums of the earth today that he
exactly.
doesn't compare to.
Exactly. So he's not I don't think he should be crucified on the cross for this. I think he deserved to lose his job. I don't think he deserves to be harassed over this either. It's
Not harass. Leave your don't harass people on Twitter if you can. Well, I
mhm.
mean, you should be able to help it. Don't go harassing people on Twitter, and that's it's rough enough for some people as it is, and I don't think you should be rushing people or scaring people off of social medias. But I'm sure he got a lot of flack for this, considering what happened. But yeah, that he was dumb. He didn't disassociate himself. He didn't make it clear. It may have still ended up on this issue, but or with this same outcome, possibly. But it could probably still save some headaches from a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. He's just dumb
Yeah.
for
I think
that.
I think that kind of I'm kind of done talking about that. I think we kind of covered all the bases on there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
there's one other piece of gaming news we want to talk about, Chris. I'll let you bring this one up.
we we do.
Yes.
Which one would that be? If you would mind just saying the name.
CD Project Red.
Okay, good. Okay, okay. I thank you. That's what I thought you were talking about. Since I don't have them all up here, I wasn't sure if that's specifically the one you wanted. I know we talked about this before, but I just forgot. But yes, CD Projekt Red apparently is now targeting late 2021 release, possibly 2022, which is what I'm putting in there because I don't believe it'll come out late this year. Of their official launch. Oh no, sorry. Yes, I guess technically it would be their second launch of Cyberpunk 2077 on the new generation consoles and The Witcher 3's next gen upgrade. Um, does this mean last gen versions of the game are what they consider to be the final versions? Considering that's what most people bought the game for. Most people did not buy them for next gen because they can't, again, get a hold of the consoles. So I
Um,
don't know if they consider those finished or not.
so I know you bought this game on the PC, Chris, but
Yes.
for the consoles for both Microsoft and Sony, there is no next gen version. There's only the previous gen. So we're talking about PS4 or Xbox One. Now,
So this would be considered a digital upgrade.
it would be basically the smart
Mm,
delivery or the,
yeah.
the PS4 to PS5 $10 thing
Okay.
essentially.
So this then should be, if I owned it on the PS4, whenever this drops, this should be their official, big air quotes here, second, we'll say second release of the game, and hopefully then it will run proper. And it should then also run well on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, if
Uh,
I'm getting those numbers right.
so what happened with the console versions was basically they weren't as, the graphic fidelity was not
Oh,
there.
oh, they were
And
trash.
and if you played them on like the PS5 or Series X, you're playing not the current gen, you're playing one generation behind, and there was no
Yeah,
performance issues. The issues were especially bad for PS4 and Xbox One because there was dipping down like 20 frames a second was not uncommon, even dipping down to single digits for frames per
yeah,
second during high combat areas. So we're talking like 7, 8, 9 FPS.
yeah. Not
Terrible.
including, also not to mention as well, like people falling through the world, all the glitches, like people hovering outside of the vehicles while driving,
Hmm.
or just teleporting, cops teleporting everywhere, and lots of other issues that seem. I unfortunately only got one visual bug. It was so weird. So I could tell you about this on PC. I was walking down one of the streets. I think it was on an overpass or getting close to one. We have these vending machines all over the place. And depending on what area of the city you're in, the vending machines will look different, cleaner, dirtier, different company logos. And as I walked down the street, all the vending machines and trash cans, I believe some of the digital signs, like the advertisements, were flickering every single step out, not step, but every second the game ran. It would change to a different texture in the game.
Oh wow.
And it just was a nightmare walking down that street and having it just stutter with how frequently it was changing. I didn't notice frame drops, but it was just like an assault on my senses as I seen stuff freak out. And I unfortunately didn't hit the record button to record it. Because I wish I did.
So
I,
basically, this is the epilepsy test. You either know if you have it or you don't from playing this game. That's what
well,
you're
it
saying.
wasn't that bad, but it was such a weird issue. And I didn't get, like, my buddy got one where how do you say, you at the beginning of the game you get teamed up with a big huge muscle guy. I don't remember his name. I haven't played in a while.
Keanu?
But no, it's not Keanu. It's before him. It's like the guy you get who helps you out after the first incident in the game. You team up with him, and in one after one of the missions, he's on a motorcycle, and he drives off on the motorcycle and disappears, or whatever. But he was hovering like a good 2 feet off the motorcycle, in stance on the motorcycle, like laying down on the motorcycle.
What?
It was not right. And he jumped on the motorcycle as he drove away and just stood on the motorcycle as he drove him to a location, and then just stopped and just like it was down the street. You would, if you didn't follow him, you'd never know. You're supposed to like go there and disappear when he's out of sight of you, like what an open world game would do. But because my buddy followed him, he was standing on the bike and he just drove around a couple blocks and then parked behind this building, and then just stood there waiting for like the player to not look at him so he could despawn. I think, oh, but he's like hovering in the air, eating. He was responding to the character and not responding to him as he shot him. And it's like, oh, that's not so much of a bug except for the floating, but it was still a funny thing to see like how certain aspects of the games are made when you can like jump onto the vehicles and take a ride with them into their despawn area.
When you went like this, I was thinking of like George Costanza lying on his side.
Oh,
Yeah. Like that's why I had my mind, like a muscle guy lying like this, like on his motorcycle as just going
he
by.
was basically doing that. Like he was in a lying down kind of pose, but then half of his body would break when it would realize he's on a motorcycle. Like,
So
you ever see the VTubers who like get desynced from their cameras and their camera of the advertisers go like, oh, they
yeah,
hit all. It
yeah.
was almost like that. It was so
Huh.
freaky. It was so funny. I
So
loved it.
this kind of relates back to the news that like, they're kind of keeping their head down and just basically taking their time with their patches this time around, which is what they
I,
should be doing.
yeah, I don't know how many patches came out on PC or how much fixed it is, but I do want to go back into it. Again, I didn't have too many issues in general, but even if they could, they're obviously trying to fix the game, but if they could put in a lot more performance patches if they're not already in the game, I think it would really help because I got a decent computer and I had issues sometimes even running the game at 30 FPS. Like I should be able to hopefully run it at 60. And at my setup, I was averaging about 45, but there's lots of times we would dip to close to 20 and then jump back up. And I was like, what is going on? This is a little terrible, but I could still deal with it as long as it didn't really happen in uh, combat situations or gameplay. But I never noticed it too much. But I'm sure it was still doing it during certain sections. Like any section where you go into the big open world and you had to render a lot of stuff. Understandably, it's going to take a big toll on your computer, but it shouldn't have been dropping that low for me. I don't think. I'm hoping that that those issues will be solved and people can like sit down and enjoy the game they bought a year ago.
Hmm. I mean, the same thing happened with Witcher 3. When it launched, it was a nightmare. Not as big as
No, not as big.
Cyberpunk, obviously, but it was still a nightmare. So
But that's interesting that they are going to be doing a next gen upgrade for The Witcher 3 as well. I
yeah,
don't believe that they're putting on any more DLC for it, are they?
no, but
Okay, so it's just a way for people to play it on the new consoles, higher resolution, hopefully better
basically,
performance.
it's his next Skyrim.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, it's the next Skyrim until Skyrim's re-released, which will happen probably
Again,
next year.
I think it just got re-released on something recently. I forget what that something is, but I'm pretty sure it just
Yeah,
got released.
I think it did.
I
I
read.
think it got released for my. I think it got released for some fridges.
Even the first joke. Dun dun dun. Oh, that's Game of Thrones. Never mind. Anyways, yeah, I think we're safe to move on from this, right? That's
I
all.
think so.
All
You want
right.
to do one more and end it if we can find something?
Yeah. Well, we can either do Berserk or One Piece then. Kind of some anime news.
We can do both. We do because
Okay.
I think these can be pretty quick.
All right. Go ahead.
Um, we'll do Berserk because we'll do the One Piece first because Berserk is really fast. Um, One Piece, apparently, this was a few weeks ago. Again, we're a little behind. Um, that apparently there was a leaked copy of the first episode script of the live action, I believe, Netflix adaptation of One Piece. I still haven't read it, but just based on it being One Piece, which is Dragon Ball Z with pirates, effectively, um, I don't understand how you're going to turn this into a live action show. I am afraid because although Cowboy Bebop still hasn't dropped, it could turn out really good, or it could turn out like what I've read from the Avatar live action show that will be coming out, which sounds like it will be awful. Again, those two haven't come out yet either, so we don't know how good or bad, but I don't see how you're going to be able to do a One Piece show. A big high action shonen anime with superpowers in that with out on like a lot of it's on the open seas and fighting on pirate ships without making it look cheesy. Unless if they're going to do a Dragon Ball Evolution. Don't do Dragon Ball Evolution. Please don't. I think, we'll leave it up to when we actually see or hear more about it, but it doesn't sound like they should be doing a One Piece live action. What do you think? You don't have much of a horse in this race,
Um,
unlike me, do you?
I've heard of how good it is, but my only issue, I haven't seen a single episode, and that's
It's
only,
good.
I believe you, but the only issue for me is it's too damn big. That's what she said. But anyways, like there's
Hi-oh.
yeah, exactly. There's too many episodes, and I feel like it's like, do I really want to delve into like a series that's like a goddamn 1,000 episodes? You know how much of a time commitment that is? Because that's a good chunk of your life gone. I'm sorry, it is. Like I can watch
That is your
several
life.
other. That is your life. So I kind of disagree with this because no matter which route they take, they're gonna never be able, as a live action show, to be able to even catch up, let alone finish the series. So like, what's even the point of starting, in my opinion, at that point? Like, these actors are gonna die before they manage to film 1,000 episodes, right? It's not gonna
Well,
happen.
obviously, there's lots of filler in it, so that there's lots of times when you could just cut out a lot of filler from it and just focus on a lot of the main arcs. My big issue is it's anime, high action, weird anime. Like the main character is a rubber man, like Mr. Fantastic. The first kind of bad guy, or one of the first bad guys, who's my favorite bad guy, uh, Captain Buggy, is a clown pirate who can dismember his body and chop it up into tiny little pieces and reform himself. And I don't see how you could do these kind of wild fights and stuff without making it look really cheesy or just straight up bad. Um, and I don't know if you could do it with it just being a drama, like just cut out a lot of fighting. I think it'd be really weird trying to do it more as a drama. I don't think it would fit because people love One Piece for the action. That's one of the obviously it's a shonen show, right? So it'd be just as weird as doing like a live action Dragon Ball and not have fighting be part of it, right? It just wouldn't work. Um, now, if we just briefly talk about like the upcoming and Netflix shows, or and even some of the new ones, or some of the ones that are already out, like One Piece, not One Piece. Sorry,
Cowboy
Death
Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop and Death Note. Death Note's already out. That is a movie. Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
that was a movie. Um, I think they got a lot of it pretty good. Like I didn't think I liked the guy who played L as much, but then I think personally for me, I think the movie fell apart halfway through, and I didn't like it. But overall, what they're trying to set up with that series, I thought was all right. Um, Now, Cowboy Bebop th throws to me like that's kind of like a more of a drama, not quite, but you understand what I mean. It's not about the combat; it's about the characters, and that one seems to be a better choice for live action, kind of like Death Note. But to me, the Cowboy Bebop, the characters look out of place. Their outfits seem off. And it's not because they're not good outfits. It's just doing anime to live action adaptation can either be really good if they're wearing normal clothes or look weird if the clothes are just a little weird that it doesn't seem to match. And I think that's my biggest issue with the Cowboy Bebop stills that we had seen was that they just seem a little off. I'm hoping it's good because it could be a really easy show to do right. I don't think they're going to do space stuff in the show. I don't think they're going to touch on that stuff or a lot of it. So I think a lot of it's going to be on Earth or inside of colonies. Yeah, that's the word. Inside of space colonies, like on moons and that. So I don't think we're going to get a lot of space stuff, which would suck personally. But I think Cowboy Bebop has a potential to be good. But it may just go the way of Death Note, where I think it started off good and then got crap. I don't know, but that's going to be airing pretty soon. What do you think?
Well, you and me just finished watching Cowboy Bebop not too recently. It's been my first time watching it,
It's
so
the anime that is.
yes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and the set photos so far look good. So I think it'll be fine, honestly. Well, from what I've seen, it's kind of hard to judge from like 3 or 4 photos, but
Yeah, it is.
the cast looks good. Jet looks he's the guy from Luke
Oh,
Cage. He's very on point.
he looks so good as Jet.
I know you told me that there is some harassment by whoever is playing Faye that she's wearing too much clothes compared to her
and
anime counterpart,
and a
and there
little bit
was
also for the guy playing Spike.
mhm. um it's kind of uncalled
Sorry, I
for.
don't remember their names, so
So who
forgive
cares?
us.
Well, you told me in the past Spike is played by
He was
Harold and
in Harold
Kumar.
and Kumar. I just
What?
don't remember his name,
Yeah. So
but he's one of them. I don't remember the woman who's playing Faye. They look a little off, even though like I look at Spike's outfit, I'm like, that looks like Spike. And I look at Faye's, I'm like, it is more normal looking outfits, like it's not like skin tight and that, but I think it looks fine. It just looks weird going into a live action. It's something about those two outfits seem a little off. And I don't think it's the actors or actors. and the outfit's fall, just something about it's slightly off. It looks weird. Like, as weird as it is for me to say, it looks like cosplay. You know, like they don't look like characters brought to life. But then Jet kind of looks like that too, but he's the best looking one out of
Hmm.
those three.
Yeah.
But we'll see when it comes out. I'm hoping it's good. Cross fingers.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
will definitely be watching that hopefully when it drops.
yeah, I'll be watching it too, definitely.
I mean, we might end up watching it together if we
I
can.
think that's most likely what's going to happen, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, like it could go one of two ways, but I don't see specifically a shonen show like One Piece being able to do it right. It's so weird, but we'll wait and see for if it ever happens and when a trailer drops. Hell, even when trailers drop for it, I definitely want to see. And yeah, that's it for that, I think. Unless if you had a closing statement.
Nope, that's about it for me for that
Okay.
one.
Well, then we'll go into Berserk. Unfortunately, as some people know, probably a lot of people who know, the Berserk was a really good manga that was being released and slowly being released as an anime, kind of on and off here and there. Went on hiatus for a long time. The creator unfortunately passed away a few months ago, and he'd never got to finish the Berserk manga. They did They haven't said whether or not they're going to continue the manga, but he was working on a new chapter of it when he unfortunately passed. And they are now going to, is it in a few months or later this year? They're going to release, at least in Japan right now, the last volume. And I believe in Audio City or Drama City, I think is what they'll be referring it to as. And I think it's going to have a lot of other artists that were inspired by Berserk or that actually worked alongside Muria and talk about their experiences with him and the effect he's had on their life. And I believe that's what's coming out soon, which so it may be like it could very well be the last Berserk manga being released because his son has not said if they're continuing it under someone else's writing and writing and drawing styles. So we don't know where that's going yet, but yeah, this very well is probably going to be the last Berserk manga coming out. And that is very, very sad. I'm still a couple behind, but I love Berserk. I think almost everyone I talk to about anime, I say, watch Berserk. Berserk's really good. You should watch it. I'm a big fanboy for it. And I think most people that I know that have gotten into Berserk is because of that I've run into. Never heard of Berserk until I talked to them about it. So I'm kind of like someone who's been spearheading. Go check this out. Uh, and it's such a great show. It's sad that it may very well be the final, and I'm afraid to pick it up and look at it and go, oh, it didn't end well. You know, what that feeling of it can't be finished yet. There's so much like that's gonna be so sad if that's how it is. I hope it ends in this final volume of this was a good place to end it, even though the story's not finished. This feels like a good finish point for now, and that's what I hope I get out of it. What about you?
A couple things to say. Yeah, you introduced me to Berserk about like mid 2000s ish. And even
Hmm.
back then, I made a joke because you kind of explained to me like this anime came out like in the 80s and it's still ongoing. Even back then, I made the joke, and I hope it doesn't sound like it's a kind of bad taste now, but like I said, this guy's gonna like die of old age before he completes Berserk. And unfortunately he died of not old age, he died to something else. So, you know, rest in peace. You know, I
Yeah,
I, I
he did say he wanted to, possibly jokingly, but he was saying before he wanted to make 100 issue manga series, and he ended on around 41, I believe. So he didn't get halfway through what he was proposing to be his lifelong epic.
mhm. And then also, yeah, like I was reading through Reddit and like I didn't see any spoilers, but they did say that apparently, according to Reddit, that the manga ends in a very good spot, which can be concluded. Like you can like put a bookmark and say like this is a good spot for the series to end if there ever was going to be one.
I
That's
hope that is including the final volume that will be coming out because I don't know.
that's yeah,
So I
that
believe it was being released in Young Animal, but I don't know how far Young Animal had gotten when releasing these. If it's still being published through that publication, but if it does end in a good spot, where it's like really nice ending, I hope so because that's what I mostly want since it may not get continued, and
mhm.
I'm afraid if it does. I think if it does get continued, I think they should they should put a different subtitle on it. Like, don't continue it under Berserk, call it like Berserk something. Like Berserk, continue, Berserk, whatever, re-Berserk or
Super
something.
Berserk.
Yeah, like something to distinguish it from the original to say
Mhm.
this is the continuation, but it's not the same artist. I think it would be a good way to do it, just to have that separation. Because it'd be so weird for people who don't know that this happened to get to like volume like 43 and see like a slightly different anime style and writing style and go, oh, why does it feel so weird, right?
Mhm.
So,
We've
but if it ends well and it doesn't continue, I think I'll be happy with that too. I just hope that it is true that it doesn't end in a good spot.
And then something else I wanted to say was I know you and me have had this conversation before, but I'll just repeat it.
Mm,
I really I don't really necessarily hold it against him, but he should have planned it better considering he started the series in the 80s and like he died in 2021. He should have done what Akira Toriyama had done and have an understudy that in case the worst happened to him, there would have been someone that kind of knew the story and kind of knew where he wanted to go with it. He should have had a few. And yeah, when he died, the rumor was apparently his son knew and all this, but no, apparently his son did not know what we're talking about here. So yeah, it's yeah,
yeah,
it's a really sad topic, honestly.
it is. I think with the kid or with Maria, he obviously didn't know this was going on. As far as I know, he wasn't feeling ill or sick or anything. So I think it was like quite sudden. Akira Toriyama, fortunately, when they decided to start doing Super, he I don't know if he actually really wanted to continue it or not, but he was either introduced, maybe it was someone through Bird Studios or someone else through Shonen Jump that may have him that he may have been introduced to, but he started to like now uh, train up a guy, Tortaru, I believe his last name is, and he's now kind of continuing in the Berserk, not Berserk, Dur, in the Dragon Ball fashion and trying to learn from Akira Toriyama, his writing style, his drawing style. He was kind of one of the big guys heading up Super or the Super movies a lot alongside Toriyama. And I believe he did the manga, I believe, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, the Akira is now like training up someone to kind of continue for him the Dragon Ball franchise if the worst was to happen, or if he decides to take more of a backseat approach and just sit back so we can enjoy retirement. As long as the series seems to be in good hands, I don't think he'd want to. Like, I could see him ripping it out of the hands of them, saying no if it's going down a path he doesn't like.
Hmm.
So
And
I would hope so for it being his flagship, his baby. It's his life work, and
he's still designing characters. That's the
I
thing.
do believe so.
So that's
He
he's
designed
like
he
he's
designed
still helping everyone out, which is amazing.
yeah, he designed I believe he designed a lot of the characters like hits in Super. He
Hmm.
also did I want to say the new Broly because and I do believe he also did one of the villains in the fighting game, Shonen Jump. Was it All Stars? No, the one that had Yugi, Moto, and stuff like that. He designed like
Oh yeah, yeah. Shonen Jump All Stars, or not All Stars, but like Shonen Jump or something. I forget,
yeah,
but
I
yeah.
don't remember the subtitle on it, but yeah, Shonen Jump, and he was in that. He designed the villain on that, which a lot of people said kind of looked like Hit. No, or not hit, Jiren, I
Mhm.
believe it was. But yeah, he's still designing characters here and there, so he is still having a hand on it. But it's unfortunate that like a lot of people aren't able to aren't able to either get their writing down, like their thoughts and feelings on how they want the series to go before something passes, and or that they're not able to like take a step back and retire before things get too bad. Like the creator of oh, what's it called? I just had the Musashi. It's about Musashi.
Oh,
Uh, Vagabond. The creator of Vagabond was starting to get ill and had to take multiple hiatuses from his manga, I believe is what happened. And he finally retired, but he was able to, because he couldn't finish his series either, he was able to take what he had in his head and as a final volume, release like what happens in the future to these characters and where they fall upon in their journeys as a final goodbye for everyone. And basically said this is where it's ending, unless if I have the ability to continue another chapter in where the original series ended off. But he says this is where it's ending. I can't really do it anymore. It, so he was able to see the signs before anything happened and take a step back. Like apparently not everyone gets the chance to do that, like Maria and like the guy who, if I could be wrong on this, so forgive me, but the guy who created Astro Boy, apparently he something happened to him
hmm.
during his drawings and anime creation and that, and I think he passed before he could finish what he wanted to finish as well, or died of something very similar. And it's very sad when it just sneaks up on you, and especially for like manga and anime creators who had a big impact on the French or on the genre, such as Maria and the like what Berserk had on people and like what Astro Boy did.
Hmm.
Like it's very sad to see greats like that pass on and not be able to finish or be able to hand down their work into good hands or see, just have their works finished. It's very sad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to give him shit. I just think he should have planned a little better,
Yeah.
considering it's been 40 years since between his start and end point in terms of the
Yeah, like
manga.
we were making jokes that he'll never finish that. Like, what will finish first, Berserk or Game of Thrones? And it seems Game of Thrones might finish first, but he's still kicking.
J.R.R. Martin.
Yeah, but we'll see whenever that new book comes out.
Yeah, I mean, the show has gone to shit, but to be fair, the books have already gone a different direction, like from the very get-go. Like, there's some characters that they never had in the show. Like, apparently, Lady Stark comes back in the books and she's like a zombie who can't talk because she
Yeah,
got her throat slit. So, and she's trying to get revenge on everyone. She's literally a zombie. She got brought back to life by the fire ritual guys. So,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, there's definitely changes that were made. You can understand certain changes that they didn't want to do that they didn't want to bring into the show, right? For whatever narrative they're going for.
yeah.
It's understandable for changes, but it definitely went its own way. Unfortunately, the show ended on a wet fart, or maybe a big fart because lots of people heard it.
Yeah. That
But
oh so bad at the very end. Even the
I
actress who played Daenerys, what's her name? I forget now.
oh I don't remember her name, but
She
yeah.
she said, yeah, when I got the last script for the last episode, like I was at home, I just kind of, went on like a 2 hour walk. I came home and I cried. That's what she said. Because
Oh
because
no.
they ruined her character and she wasn't allowed to say it because it was an interview, right? But you kind of got the
Yeah,
impression.
the end of that was very
It was a badly written show in the last couple seasons because they didn't know what the fuck to do without the books. So
yeah, they want to end it there. So things couldn't get as fleshed out as they wanted to. Like possibly that ending could have worked if they had like another season to flesh things out. Probably wouldn't have worked out anyway. But you know what I mean.
yeah,
Having more time to do the things they wanted to do, but they didn't take the time, or it's not like that they would have been denied another season. I don't think they just want to end it sooner, and it sucks. Everyone hurts. But yeah, I don't know.
um,
I,
I think we kind of went a little off topic and we're kind of
oh,
over time right now, Chris. I think
we
we're
did. We kind of
yeah. So I think this is our first episode of the podcast, guys. As you can tell, but it's mostly gaming news, some anime, some entertainment, some trailers, some movies kind of mixed in there. But yeah, this is what you can kind of expect, Chris. I think that's fair to say. Hmm?
think so. We may go on tangents that we want to try and keep it around maybe an hour, hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because it depends on what kind of tangents we get on. But yeah, it, hopefully it's turns out well and people aren't disappointed.
Yeah, this is our first episode, as I said. So we're gonna, start working out the kinks. This episode's probably gonna be longer than the others just because we had the introductions at the start, if nothing else. But yeah, we'll try to condense it going forward. Try and keep it, between 1 and 2 hours, probably on the lower end of that.
Yeah, if we can. Hopefully no hiccups in that, but I'm sure problems will arise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got nothing else other than goodbye. Thanks guys for checking out the podcast and the VODs and wherever else you checked us out. I don't do much streaming, but you can catch me I believe I'm under Prince_Kaboom on Twitch. And well, I guess it says I put up there and Twitter under C Shebang. I don't have a YouTube up yet. I'm looking to do that, but that's a future project. And you?
So, well, yeah, for me, the info's kind of there. I'm kind of streaming on my Twitch channel currently, but we are looking for this to be more of a podcast than the VOD. So we're going to be trying to upload this to we'll have it on YouTube, but we're also going to try and, put it on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes. We're going to try and get this podcast out here. But yeah, we also are streaming right now on Twitch as well. It's kind of, for now, at least what we decide to do in terms of having the audio and how to kind of sync it between the two of us. We kind of figured this is kind of the easiest thing to do in terms of the work being done. So yeah,
Yeah, it's still a little bit of work.
yeah, we still have some kinks to work out, but I think it was a pretty good first episode, Chris.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right, guys.
And where can people catch you?
Oh yes. So yeah,
Before you forget.
my Twitter and the Twitch are the same things. It's Zorb_Zex. So ZORB_ZEX.
And you don't do YouTube, do you?
I do have a
Not at the
YouTube,
moment.
but there's nothing really on there aside from a
Yeah.
handful of videos. I have a braid speed run, and I have a DuckTales extreme difficulty,
Right.
no commentary playthrough. But yeah, it's not going to be anything for a bit, so I'm not going to advertise it. But it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
If you look at the
We can
name, you'll
update
find
that.
it. Yeah.
I assume it's under the same name. I didn't put it up on the on our overlay here because I wasn't sure if you want to.
Yeah, it's basically instead of an underscore, it's a space between the two names. So it's
Yeah.
essentially the same thing. But yeah, I'm not really advertising that hard because there's hardly any content on there. So yeah, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Twitter. I tend to stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays on Twitch. Maybe I'll have a bonus stream once in a while. I'll have one this coming week. I met the incentive, as I said, for the Final Fantasy X speedrun, and then Diablo 2 also comes out, so it's actually going to be a busy week for me on Twitch. I'm going to be playing lots of video games. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and catch your streams when I can, but knowing my schedule, I'll be in for a half hour and then gone. So, but I hope your week goes well. I hope everyone else's week who's listening goes well. And I guess we'll talk to you guys next week. It should be around the same time-ish.
Yeah,
I believe so. Hopefully no issues again.
If you're a podcast listener, there's a very good chance that the next podcast is already, going to be out. We have our own Discord. I'm not really sure the best way to share it in an audio point of view.
We'll have to put it in the description.
Yes.
When we post these.
So we're open to suggestions. This is just the kind of thing that me and Chris have been doing already for years, just among the two of us. We figured, why not make it a podcast? We're already doing half the work by talking about the stuff already amongst the two of us. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think we'll end it there. Take care, guys. Talk to you guys next week. Talk to you later, Shawn.
Yep. I'll talk to you later, Chris. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for listening, and have a great rest of your week.
Bye, guys.